What's happening? How's everybody doing, man? How is everybody doing? How is everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Press 1 if you can hear me. Press 1 if you can hear me. Got a great show for you guys tonight, man. If you want to sponsor the show, man, you can sponsor the show via PayPal, Cash App, or Super Chat. You can sponsor the show via PayPal, Cash App, or Super Chat. Man, it's a lot going on. A whole lot going on out here, man. Yeah, a whole lot going on. The tide is, people are starting to, I think people are starting to wake up, man. People are starting to wake up as to what's going on in this country. The crime. More people are woke, and I have to give Elon credit for that, man. Information is power. And by allowing everyone to share information, and not only a certain group of people to share information like Jack Dorsey did, a lot of people are starting to realize what's going on out here, man. Let's go.
A Sunday morning shootout in a Seagoville neighborhood leaves a 19-year-old dead and a 51-year-old behind bars.
The shooting was captured on a neighbor's surveillance camera. Larry Robertson is now facing a murder charge. Fox 4's David Centenary has more on what happened before and after the shooting. David.
Yeah, Stephen, Heather, that shootout happened in the middle of a neighborhood. At least one bullet went inside someone's home. There were parents and children out and about when this happened, again, around lunchtime yesterday. One of those neighbors who witnessed the shooting turned over some surveillance video to us. A shootout in the middle of a Seagoville neighborhood Sunday morning. A 19-year-old man is dead. 51-year-old Larry surveillance video to us.
Damn. He let that thing go, man. I tend to think the 19-year-old was at fault, man. I tend to, in these type of situations from experience, I tend to think the 19-year-old was at fault. 19-year-olds be bullies, man, in the black community. They be bullies. They be full of cum. They in musk, you know what I'm saying? Like they in musk, as they would call it with an animal. That juvenile like phase where boy is feeling himself. And they bully a lot of people. 15, 16, 17-year-old, 19-year-old black dudes that are like in the streets, they bully a lot of people. I tend to think that the 51-year-old was in the right in this situation.
Some surveillance video to us. A shootout in the middle of a Segaville neighborhood Sunday morning. A 19-year-old man is dead. 51-year-old Larry Robertson charged with murder.
My daughter was laying down on the bed watching TV and the bullet came right through the window and then she was screaming.
The shooting rattling Tanisha Ortega's family.
All that stuff is just out of control. You know, we're supposed to be in a safe environment. And if you're not safe in your home.
Yeah, this is a nice neighborhood. This is like, you look at this neighborhood. This neighborhood is probably built. Salute to S Freak, man. Make sure y'all support the channel. Be a PayPal, Cash App with the Super Chat, man. Sponsor the show, guys. Yeah, the Sunburb. Yeah, this is the Sunburb, man. So it's not quite a suburb, but it's a Sunburb. Yeah, it's supposed to be nice. It's supposed to be nice. Theoretically, it's supposed to be nice.
Watching TV in the
book. Look at her ass. Her ass is here with her two little pickaninnies. Cute kids, but goddamn, man. You know goddamn well. Jesus Christ.
Bullet came right through the window and then she was screaming.
The shooting rattling Tanisha Ortega's family.
All that stuff is just out of control. You know, we're supposed to be in a safe environment. And if you're not safe in your home, where are you supposed to be safe at?
Surveillance video shared with police and obtained by Fox 4 reportedly shows Robertson driving a black Kia passenger car near the 19-year-old who's wearing a red sweatshirt. You hear words exchanged, then gunfire.
Yeah, the 19-year-old talking shit. The 19-year-old threatening the guy, man. I feel bad, but yeah, you still can't kill him for threatening you if you don't have a gun. They're going to say he didn't have a gun, even though I guarantee you that son turd, that little fucking teenager, was pretending like he had a gun and was talking big shit. And I guarantee you he initiated the situation. Unfortunately, this older guy got to go to prison probably for the rest of his life just for crossing paths with a fucking YN, as they call it.
Reportedly shows Robertson driving a black Kia passenger car near the 19-year-old who's wearing a red sweatshirt. You hear words exchanged, then gunfire. The 19-year-old runs.
See the way he got out?
Who's wearing a red sweatshirt. You hear words exchanged.
They're going to say he could have left. They're going to say he could have left. They're going to say he could have left the scene. They're going to say he could have left. He had a chance to leave the scene. He didn't have to stop. He don't know that if he keep driving, this guy not going to start firing at his car. He don't know that. That's the thing. That's why these son cases are so tricky, man. These son cases so tricky. Shout out to Boy Kachina, man. Boy Kachina in the building, man. That's why these son cases are so tricky, man. Because They involve irrational behavior, like the most people don't have to worry about 19-year-olds trying to bully them. Most people don't have to worry about 19-year-olds with bodies under their belt that have killed people roaming the streets. Most people don't have to worry about 19-year-olds that roll with squads of little fucking other fucking shooters and shit. They don't understand how dangerous this 19-year-old was and what would have been going through this 51-year-old's mind during a confrontation with the 19-year-old. Press 1. So when you get to court, it's like, well, you could have just left. And it's like, well, yeah, I could have just kept driving and he could have just pulled out a gun and just fucking lit my car up and killed me. Or he could have seen me again and ambushed me while I wasn't aware of his presence. The next time he would have seen me, this 19-year-old would have ambushed me and killed me. It would have never been over just for having words with him. Salute to Brian Ackley, aka he says peace out. R.I.P. DVK. Salute, man. Make sure y'all get your R.I.P. DVK shirts, man, at the Ock Nation merch store. Link in the description box. I wore mine the other day. I don't even wear mine on camera every day. I just wear it from time to time. People be looking like, damn, I wonder who how when you got an RP shirt on, people be wondering who the fuck that person is. People who see you in public.
Then, gunfire. The 19-year-old runs out of frame as he's shot.
Call 911.
Ortega says she tried to help the young man before he died.
And I was just trying to keep him awake, tell him, don't go to sleep.
The Kia drives off. According to an arrest warrant, Seagoville police located the Kia and arrested Robertson, who's sharing his story with investigators.
And as far as I know, he is being cooperative.
Yeah.
According to the arrest affidavit, Robertson, who lives in the neighborhood, told police, that dude came around my house. He had a pistol. He pointed it at me.
Yeah, I believe him. I 1,000% believe this guy, man. I 1,000% believe this older guy, man. 1,000% believe him. They don't call them YNs for no reason. Everybody's not calling them YNs because they're fucking nice and easy to get along with. Most of these young dudes are fucking shit stains. Human shit stains. I believe this guy. I 100% believe this guy. He was defending himself.
Story with investigators.
And as far as I know, he is being cooperative.
According to the arrest affidavit, Robertson, who lives in the neighborhood, told police, that dude came around my house. He had a pistol. He pointed it at me. Robertson's family later told police 2 males were seen on surveillance footage loitering around their home, and 1 knocked on their door. Robertson.
See? 2 males loitering around his home. 1 knocked on his door. You move to the sunburbs and niggas is out here hunting. Listen, I hate the fact that this old guy probably gonna end up, because of these cases are so cut and dry. Most of the time, did you kill him or did you not? Were you able to retreat? These dudes know where this guy lives at. And he had words with them. If you have words with a fucking young black male in the streets and he knows where you live, his bravado and his machismo and his ego in his frail, his narcissism is going to drive him to come back to your home and try to murder you. Especially after he tells his boys what happened. You know that motherfucker live up there by the breezeway? Oh no. You know that old bald head man? You know that bald head dude that live up there by the breezeway? Yeah, I think I seen him. Yeah. You know that bitch ass nigga was faking, man. He was talking shit, man. That nigga talk shit to me too. That nigga try to play with me today, man. I'm gonna swear to God, next time I see that nigga, I'm gonna fucking blow that nigga brains out, man. Oh, for real? What's up with you? Trying to go over there now? Yeah, let's go. Let's see if you're over there. That's the type of world you live in when you live around niggers with the hard ER. When you live around niggers, everything is life or death. They're throwing boulders at the penitentiary constantly. I feel sorry for this guy, man. Hope this guy can beat this shit, man. I think that little fucking 19-year-old was in the wrong. Make sure y'all support the channel, man. You ain't gonna get this nowhere else, man. Nobody can analyze these situations. Very few people can analyze these situations like me, because very few people have the upbringing I have and have also been a fucking knucklehead. You gotta be a knucklehead to understand this shit. And you gotta be able to gather your thoughts and convey your thoughts effectively to be able to, express it. You gotta have empathy, man. I feel bad for this guy, man. He's most likely gonna spend the rest of his life in prison.
A Sunday morning shootout in a Seagaville neighborhood leaves a 19-year-old dead and a 51-year-old behind bars.
The shooting was captured on a neighbor's surveillance camera. Larry Robertson is now facing a murder charge. Fox 4's David Centenary has more on what happened before and after the shooting. David.
Yeah, Stephen, Heather, that shootout happened in the middle of a neighborhood. At least one bullet went inside someone's home. There were parents and children out and about when this happened, again, around lunchtime yesterday. One of those neighbors who witnessed the shooting turned over some surveillance video to us. A shootout in the middle of a Seagaville neighborhood Sunday morning. A 19-year-old man is dead. 51-year-old Larry Robertson charged with murder.
My daughter was laying down on the bed watching TV, and the bullet came right through the window, and then she was screaming.
The shooting rattling Tanisha Ortega's family.
All that stuff is just out of control. We're supposed to be in a safe environment. If you're not safe in your home, where are you supposed to be safe at?
Surveillance video shared with police and obtained by Fox 4 reportedly shows Robertson driving a black Kia passenger car near the 19-year-old who's wearing a red sweatshirt. You hear words exchanged, then gunfire. The 19-year-old runs out of frame as he's shot.
Call 911.
Ortega says she tried to help the young man before he died.
And I was just trying to keep him awake, tell him, don't go to sleep.
The Kia drives off. According to an arrest warrant, Seagaville police located the Kia and arrested Robertson, who's sharing his story with investigators.
And as far as I know, he is Being cooperative.
According to the arrest affidavit, Robertson, who lives in the neighborhood, told police, "That dude came around my house. He had a pistol. He pointed it at me." Robertson's family later told police 2 males were seen on surveillance footage loitering around their home, and 1 knocked on their door. Robertson's family says he later went out looking for the 2. Footage shows Robertson return, then leave when he's clearly observed to be carrying a rifle. The department, however, believes the fatal shooting should have never happened.
Bad things happen everywhere, but, this is not the way to solve it. Gun violence never solves anything.
While the affidavit mentions both Robertson and the 19-year-old exchanged gunfire, it does not specify who shot first.
We all can see who shot first. Watch.
Exchanged.
Watch him shoot first. Watch.
Gunfire. It does not specify.
When he raises right there. Old head isn't even out of the car yet. I wish these words weren't here, but he's already shooting.
Who shot first?
And then he finally comes up and starts shooting, and then that's when the 19-year-old runs away. Man, I hate this, man. But because he left his house and went looking for them, he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison. Salute to Benny, man. Benny in the building. Shout out to Brian, man.
The department, however, believes the fatal shooting should have never happened.
Bad things happen everywhere, but, this is not the way to solve it. Gun violence never solves anything.
While the affidavit mentions both Robertson and the 19-year-old exchanged gunfire, it does not specify who shot first. Both appear to display a weapon around the same time. No weapon was found on the 19-year-old, according to police records. It's unclear if someone else was with him out of view during the shooting.
And then he just was gone just like that.
Ortega, who says she watched the 19-year-old pass away, describes it as a haunting encounter.
It just was shocking. I don't even want to stay here no more. It's not safe,
The 19-year-old has not been publicly identified by police at this point in time. We, however, did speak with some of his family members. They also live in that neighborhood. They declined to do an interview with us today, but we'll be sure to keep it updated if they change their minds or if we learn more information about that 19-year-old. For now.
Dallas police are trying to figure out what, if anything, links 2 April murders allegedly carried out by the same man.
30-year-old Garrett Hudgens was picked up in a raid at his West Oak Cliff home on Friday. Court documents reveal how the killings played out, but they don't say whether Hudgens knew his victims or what the motive was. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager has new video of the arrest. Peyton.
Heather, investigators say phone records and flock cameras were able to place this suspect at the scene of both murders. Dallas police able to trace the suspect vehicle, which was very recognizable, to a home in West Oak Cliff. Neighbors there tell me the suspect had been renting for less than 2 months.
Monday, a piece of plywood is left where Dallas police forced entry at a West Oak Cliff home Friday afternoon to arrest a man now charged with 2 counts of murder.
They arrested somebody.
30-year-old Garrett Hudgens with his hands behind his back after officers executed a search warrant off El Tivoli Drive. Dallas's new police chief Daniel Como was on scene for the takedown, while neighbors watched their street swarmed with law enforcement.
These are detectives, I'm pretty sure.
Those Dallas detectives say they were able to link Hudgens to 2 April murders. One of the victims, an elderly man in a wheelchair, shot and killed outside Fair Park 4:30 a.m. last Wednesday. The victim identified as 71-year-old Percy Howard. New details from an arrest warrant affidavit Fox 4 obtained say surveillance video captured a black Tahoe with a broken headlight taking off. A .45 caliber shell casing from the Fair Park scene was linked to a murder case from earlier this month.
I don't know what happened over there.
On April 4th, just after 6 a.m., officers responded to a shooting off Cockrell Hill Drive. 51-year-old Jimmy Walker was found shot to death outside the Park Hill apartment complex. An arrest affidavit states a black Tahoe with a headlight out pulled into a nearby warehouse parking lot. As the victim walks by, surveillance video shows the suspected shooter get out of the Tahoe, follow the victim on foot, and then open fire. The black Tahoe then drives away. Dallas police did not release a motive in either case, but did say they're still investigating if these murders were at random or if the suspect knew the victims.
Hudgens remains in the Dallas County Jail this evening. His bond is set at $2 million. And we also checked Hudgens' criminal history, and we only could find a couple of drug convictions, so no history of violence. Heather?
All right, Peyton Yeager live for us tonight. Thanks, Peyton.
That glider whacked 2 people. Glider crime is so boring. Like, it's just so friggin' boring. He whacked 2 people, man. They didn't really say who he whacked or how he whacked him. It's kind of weird.
The man accused of using AI to impersonate a Pikesville principal takes a plea deal. Dazon Darian was sentenced to 4 months for falsifying a recording containing racially charged rhetoric, ultimately costing the principal his job and destroying his reputation. But as Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor reports, Darian is maintaining his innocence.
That's right. Today, Darian took what's called an Alford plea, meaning that he is accepting guilt, but he's not admitting to it. Instead, he's simply saying that he acknowledges that the state has enough evidence to prove that he did this. Keep in mind, though, this is just the beginning. He's also facing civil charges connected to this case, as well as a number of unrelated federal charges.
It was never my intention to cause or create or spread any harm to anyone.
With a litany of federal charges hanging over his head, Dazon Darian delivering a vague apology to the courtroom as he cuts a deal with the state.
Everyone involved and everyone that was affected by this situation, I just want to apologize to on the record.
On Monday, the former Pikesville High School athletic director, charged with stalking, stealing, and retaliating against a witness, entering an Alford plea only to disturbing school operations. A judge sentencing him to just 4 months behind bars.
This particular count was the most applicable. The fact that he is facing very significant prosecution and I think a very meritful case in the federal system was a rationale for why we did and went the way we did.
According to Deputy State's Attorney John Cox, it's the first time the dark side of AI has entered the courtroom in Maryland and potentially nationwide.
The laws need to change. There's not a crime that addresses what ought to be addressed, and the emotional distress that was caused.
Investigators claim Darian created and circulated a fake audio recording of Principal Eric Eisworth's voice.
I seriously don't understand why I have to constantly put up with these dumb here every day. Between these ungrateful black kids who can't test their way out of a paper bag.
The racist remarks quickly spreading on social media, leading to an outpouring of outrage within the community. During his victim impact statement, Eisworth arguing not only was he removed from his position, his reputation was destroyed.
On January 16, 2024, I was a respected educator with 27 years of service to students and families of Baltimore County. On January 17th, I was a racist and anti-Semite. I'm slowly rebuilding my professional career and I'm beginning to heal. But this experience will never leave.
Eisworth is now pursuing a civil case against the school district and Darian, seeking at least $75,000 in damages. And while Eisworth stresses his life will never be the same, this case also opening the legal system to a whole new type of crime and raising questions over how AI offenses should be prosecuted and punished.
It's frightening. The impact that we see can happen as a result of the use of artificial intelligence is very concerning.
Meanwhile, Darian is currently being held in federal custody, facing about a dozen other charges related to child pornography possession. A trial date for that case is yet to be set, but all of those charges carry a minimum sentence ranging from 5 to 15 years behind bars.
Everybody hit the like button, man. We gonna get into the main event in a minute, man. Everybody hit the like button. We got 183 people in the building, man. Let's hit the like button. Let's take a minute, man, to give everybody a chance to hit the like button, man. Give everybody a chance to hit that like button, man. Opportunity. Here's your opportunity now. Yeah, that son, man, ruined that glider's life, man. That glider's only suing for $75,000. Probably because that son, man, ain't got shit. That's the good thing about son, man. We get to start shit, and if you sue us, you can't get a fucking thing for it. Suing the son, man. Suing the son, man, is fucking just futile, man. Shout out to Gene B, man. Gene B in the building. Sued that son, man, for $75,000.
Baltimore police say 16 teens were arrested this weekend on charges stemming from stolen cars to handgun violations to a break-in at a local school.
Nearly a dozen suspects have been arrested and have prior arrest records, and 7 were released, leading to questions about a cycle of juvenile crime across the city.
They got a pattern going on, and they just continually breaking the law and doing that. I think, it's some consequences should be held.
And thank you for joining us. I'm Kai Jack.
Niggas never say that shit with their chest. He's scared as shit to say that shit with his chest. He got to live there, man. He's scared as shit to say that shit with his chest. You ask this nigga anything else, man, what do you think about Shador Sanders not getting drafted, man? Oh, man, that's white supremacy, man, and every white person in the world is guilty of this, man, and that's the worst thing that ever fuck happened is you confident black man. They hate a confident black man, man. White people, because they know white people ain't gonna do shit. You can talk shit about white people. It ain't not gonna happen to you. You talk shit about these YNs, them little niggas might come see your ass. Press 1.
I'm across the city.
They got a pattern going on, and they just continually breaking the law and doing that. I think, some consequences should be held.
And thank you for joining us. I'm Kai Jackson.
Anti-Maxine striker, police, parents, prosecutors, they have been raising red flags about juvenile crime for months. And critics argue these arrests point to another example of an absence of youth accountability.
For any normal citizen to take a look at this, I believe that things have got to change, not just in the Baltimore area, but with the state of Maryland and how they deal with juvenile suspects.
Fox 45's Vincent Hill joins us live with the frustrations from across Baltimore tonight. Vincent, what are you learning?
Well, Kai, one of the people frustrated is the city's top cop, Commissioner Worley. 16 juveniles arrested, most of them back on the street, and one expert says they're probably already reoffended.
Near the West Side Shopping Center in Southwest Baltimore.
Yes, sir. Got an armed robbery. Frederick and Willard.
Man robbed at gunpoint. The suspects didn't get far.
20. We got 2 of them custody.
Baltimore police arresting an 18-year-old and a 17-year-old juvenile. He's one of many juveniles arrested over the weekend, 16 in total, for a long list of crimes, including robbery, handgun violations, and burglary. Like this one at Mary E. Rodman Elementary School Friday night.
Tony, be advised, it looks like they're dragging a safe out. 2 of them wearing all black hoodies.
Baltimore police say those 2 suspects were 14 and 17 years old.
But you got something that's really no helping them.
According to Baltimore police, 11 of the 16 have been arrested before.
They going around like it's no consequences to nothing they doing right now.
2 have been arrested more than 9 times. 13 of the 16 were taken to the Juvenile Justice Center.
Back when I was coming up, all it took was that belt or whatever.
But 7 of those were released to their guardian. Residents say the numbers don't add up and point to DJS.
Once it's been looked into and see that they got a pattern going on and they just continually breaking the law and doing that, I think it's some consequences should be held in regards to it.
Commissioner Richard Worley addressing his frustration in a statement, saying in part, "We cannot arrest our way out of this problem. We need accountability."
Look at the commissioner's statements. He seems to be very frustrated, and I don't blame him.
Law enforcement expert Betsy Smith.
How he is hamstrung in part by the juvenile justice system in Maryland.
Fox 45 reached out to DJS Secretary Vincent Schiraldi's office regarding the arrest and Worley's comments about accountability. A spokesperson says, quote, "They're looking into the details."
Crime needs consequences.
Meanwhile, as some of those 16 juveniles are back on the street, Smith says it's only a matter of time before they reoffend yet again.
The system, as it is in place now in the state of Maryland, clearly is not working, at least for this group of juvenile offenders.
Now, we also asked DJS if any of the 16 were arrested for robbery or handgun violations, because according to their new policy, they must be held. They tell us, quote, they're looking into it. For now, we're live at BPD headquarters.
Jesus Christ. Everyone hit the like button right now, man.
In Harford County, deputies are looking for a suspect accused of stabbing 5 people, including a baby, this weekend in Abingdon.
Look at that Patel, man. That Patel, man. They bringing that shit over here, man, and mass stabbings and shit, and driving cars into people and shit. That's all that shit they do over in their country, man. They bringing that shit over here.
Fox 45's Keith Daniels is following this story for us tonight. Keith, you spoke to some neighbors. What can you tell us?
Well, God, neighbors are clearly shaken by what happened. One neighbor we talked to described the bloody aftermath that unfolded outside of her front door. Now, the oldest victim in this case, 66 years old, the youngest, 8 months old. And tonight, the search for the suspect. Harford County Sheriff's deputies made the discovery on Deer Hill Circle in Abingdon. 5 people found inside and outside of a home on the block, brutally stabbed, including an 8-month-old baby and 2-year-old child. A usually silent street shaken by what neighbors are calling a tragedy.
Well, it was a violent attack, and children were involved and women were involved. And any time that, to be attacked, and especially in your own home, that's a tragedy.
Look at these photos. Investigators are looking for this man. The suspect is identified as 32-year-old Raha Zahid Maksud. During the search for him, detectives learned that the suspect made his way to the nearby Walmart and Target stores, where he changed his clothes before fleeing the area. Detectives say they discovered weapons here at the scene, but they do consider the suspect armed and dangerous, who's still on the loose. Harford County Sheriff's deputies got the call to the house on Deer Hill Circle just after 7 o'clock Sunday morning. When they arrived, they found 3 victims with slashing wounds and 2 sustained other injuries. One neighbor says she was sitting in her home that morning.
I mean, it just was a very crazy scene.
When the commotion outside her window grabbed her attention.
I heard what I thought was some talking or laughing by another neighbor, and I thought it was a little early. I opened the window and I saw a lady in the middle of the street covered in blood, just flailing around, "Help me, help me, help me." I walked outside. The sheriff then pulled up. And another neighbor down there had come out.
Witnesses to the aftermath of a violent crime as the search for the suspect continues.
You hope that he wouldn't come back, but we don't know. We have lots of woods around here. I mean, we don't know where he is.
Where detectives are calling what happened a domestic-related incident. They don't believe it was a random act. Meantime, all of the victims involved in this case remain in stable condition.
Well, that's good. That's good. All right. That's good. Everybody's in stable condition. That's good, man. That's good. Good. Let's see our friend. Let's do our man Graham. Who's his name? Graham. Yeah, Graham Hoffman, man. Oh.
This is breaking news from KMBC9. We begin with breaking news. This is breaking news from KMBC. This is a Fox 4 breaking news report.
Today, I'm focused on grieving for his mother, his father, his sibling, his family, and everyone in the KCFD family.
First here at 10, the Kansas City Fire Department is mourning the loss of a paramedic firefighter who died in the line of duty today. 29-year-old Graham Hoffman was stabbed by a patient while working a routine call early this morning.
Stabbed by a fucking black woman. He was stabbed by a black woman. A black woman, a nappy-headed negress, stabbed him to death. After he picked her up off the street, she was injured. He found her, picked her up off the street, put her in the ambulance, and was taken to the hospital. And that nappy-headed negress stabbed him to death inside of the ambulance. There, I fixed it.
Firefighter who died in the line of duty today. 29-year-old Graham Hoffman was stabbed by a patient while working a routine call early this morning. Thank you for joining us here on Fox 4 News at 10. I'm Shannon Brousseau. Hoffman died from his injuries this afternoon. Fox 4's Lexi French joins us live now at North Kansas City Hospital. Lexi, charges have been filed against the patient accused of stabbing him. Is that right?
Yeah, Shannon, that's right. And KCFD officials describe Graham Hoffman as somebody who loved life and serving his community. He served with KCFD for 3 years. Now, Shanita Basel faces multiple charges, including first-degree murder, armed criminal action.
Shanita Basel. Shanetta. Goddamn. Nappy-headed. Goddamn ape woman.
Assault and resisting arrest in connection with the killing of 29-year-old Graham Hoffman.
This is a senseless act that has taken a young man from his family, friends, and co-workers and deprived our city of a dedicated firefighter who only wanted to serve and protect those in this community.
Hoffman was responding to a routine call around 1 a.m. on Sunday. He was stabbed by a patient while transporting her to a local hospital. Hoffman's partner immediately initiated a crew emergency.
And additional KCFD and KCPD personnel were dispatched to the scene. KCFD crews worked to save firefighter Hoffman's life while en route to North Kansas City Hospital. Life-saving efforts were performed in the emergency room, and he was placed in the ICU where he later succumbed to his injuries.
KCFD held a procession for firefighter Hoffman Sunday afternoon at North Kansas City Hospital.
an excellent paramedic who treated his patients with the highest level of skill and compassion. The Kansas City Fire Department grieves with Graham's family, friends, and loved ones.
Hoffman usually worked out of KCFD station number 42, but was working overtime Sunday morning when he was fatally stabbed.
This should not have happened. There are a lot of things that have happened since I became mayor a few years ago. I never expected a line of duty death like this one. You never expect a violent criminal incident to bring this amount of pain to a community and a family. This is wholly unacceptable.
During a news conference Sunday afternoon, city leaders promised to support Hoffman's family as they navigate this unimaginable loss.
There will be many steps ahead as we evaluate what happened, as we review what occurred, as we address whatever needs to happen in the future. But today, I'm focused on grieving for his mother, his father, his sibling, his family, and everyone in the KCFD family. We know that we will stand with them not just today, but well into the future.
A criminal history check of Shanita Basel shows that she was arrested and charged with assault in the second degree and resisting arrest. Last week, she's accused of biting a police officer on April 23rd. She posted bond on April 25th. Tonight, though, she is in law enforcement custody. And Shannon, she's being held.
So she bit a police officer last week. She bit a police officer last week and resisted arrest. They let her go, and then she killed. Think about this. She bit a police officer, resisted arrest. That's a first responder. That's violence against a first responder. They let her go. Possibly the next first responder that she came in contact with, she killed him.
Is breaking news from KMBC 9.
We begin with breaking news. A Kansas City firefighter paramedic is dead after being stabbed in the line of duty. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jackson Kurtz. Graham Hoffman was just 29 years old. He'd been with KCFD for about 3 years. Kansas City, Missouri police arrested the suspect, Shanita Basel. She faces several charges, including first-degree murder and armed criminal action. It happened after firefighters went to the area of North Oak Trafficway and Highway 152 around 1 a.m. this morning to respond to a medical call. As they were helping Basel, they say she stabbed Hoffman in the chest, piercing his heart. Police arrested Basel and EMS took Hoffman.
How come you? That's the only thing you niggas know how to do right, is actually stab somebody in the heart and kill them instantly. Everything else you struggle with. Give a nigga a knife. If he stab you in the heart, he gonna kill you instantly. Give a nigga a shovel and some concrete, a tool belt, a goddamn crane, a goddamn bulldozer. A nigga, all 20 niggas, all they gonna be able to do is make a fucking mud puddle. Press 1.
Hoffman to North Kansas City Hospital. He died this afternoon. Earlier today, KCPD and KCFD led a procession from North Kansas City Hospital to the medical examiner's office in Kansas City, Kansas. There was a full escort with officers and motorcycles and ambulances. After this, the Clay County Prosecutor's Office held a press conference to update people on the situation. KMBC 9's Jarissa White was there and joins us now live tonight. Jarissa, so much more information. What more do we know about the suspect?
Yeah, Jackson. Well, we've since learned more details since that press conference. We learned the suspect's name and we learned her lengthy criminal rap sheet. And now the only question remains is how did a routine transport turn deadly?
Police tell us around 1 a.m. KCPD and KCFD was dispatched.
Dispatch, send someone that way for medical team.
They tell us that they arrived on scene and saw a woman we now know as Shanita Basel, pictured here, walking on the shoulder of Highway 152 near Oak Trafficway. She had a laceration to her finger. While being transported, things turned deadly.
Yes, ASAP. My partners were stabbed.
In a press conference by the Clay County Prosecutor's Office, they detail the turn of events.
Our office will use all legal, moral, and ethical tools.
This guy's a woke piece of shit. We covered him before. This guy's a woke punk ass piece of shit. And he ain't gonna do a motherfucking thing.
At our disposal to ensure justice for Graham, his family, and our entire community.
They say the ambulance they were following behind pulled over to the side of the road. Officers say they witnessed a struggle between Basel and KCFD paramedic Graham Hoffman. Officers called for more assistance.
Medic 14 has a crew member that's been stabbed.
After realizing Graham had been stabbed in the chest during the struggle.
Life-saving efforts were performed in the emergency room, and he was placed in the ICU, where he later succumbed to his injuries.
Now the question remains how a routine transport turned fatal.
This is something totally new for the fire department to have this sort of violent act. It's not uncommon to have a patient maybe be unruly. It's understandable. Sometimes things are going on. But to have something to this extent I've never seen anything like it.
Now, the Clay County Prosecutor's Office says that Shanita Basel is being held on a $1 million bond. Reporting live in Liberty, Darissa White, KBC 9 News.
All right, Darissa, thank you. And as Darissa mentioned, this is not Basel's first run-in with the law. She was charged just last week in connection with allegedly attacking an off-duty officer. The officer said he attempted to detain Basel, who allegedly resisted, grabbed his handcuffs, and tried multiple times to reach for a knife attached to his chest, to his vest, while attempting to call for help. On his police radio, the officer reported that Basel bit his left forearm and refused to let go.
This is a Fox 4 breaking news.
That goddamn subhuman she-ape, god damn it, killed somebody who would have been probably, his value to the community. She could never, ever come close to matching his value to the community.
Tributes pouring in across the metro tonight in honor of fallen Kansas City firefighter paramedic Graham Hoffman. Police say the 29-year-old died after being stabbed by a patient during what would have seemed like a routine call.
That patient identified as Shanita Basel, and she's charged with first-degree murder, armed criminal action, assault, also resisting arrest. We do have full team coverage tonight, starting with our Lexi French. So Lexi, you were in the Clay County courtroom today when Basel appeared before a judge?
Yeah, Bria, Shanita Basel appeared virtually before the judge this afternoon. She's accused of stabbing Graham Hoffman in the chest while riding in the back of an ambulance early Sunday around 1:25. Now, while today's court appearance provided little new information about that investigation, court documents we're learning more from about other recent charges against Basel. A spokesperson for the Clay County Prosecutor's Office told Fox 4 on Monday that they're focused on achieving justice inside the courtroom and supporting those affected by this crime. On Sunday, Clay County Prosecutor Zachary Thompson announced charges against 38-year-old Shanita Basel in connection with the killing of paramedic and firefighter Graham Hoffman.
Our community grieves his loss at such a young age with his entire life ahead of him. No words or actions can undo the tragic events that led us here tonight. That will not stop us from remaining steadfast in our pursuit of justice.
Basel was arrested and charged with assault on a law enforcement officer just days before the killing of 29-year-old Graham Hoffman. Court records say Basel bit a Platte City police officer on April 23rd. She was charged in Clay County and posted bond on April 25th.
So when we filed the initial charge and requested a warrant, and it was granted, the judge in that case, as in all criminal cases, reviewed the circumstances, determined the appropriate bond. In that case, bond was set at $10,000, and the defendant posted that bond.
The 38-year-old doesn't appear to have a criminal.
So she got $10,000 bond for biting the cop. And that's why she was home to kill Graham Hoffman. I know most people don't care. Most black people and most liberals, white libs, don't care about first responders. But listen, man, when you got a situation, they the only ones that's going to show up. You literally can't call anybody else. Call the Next Generation Action Network when you got a home invader or you got a problem. Call the Next Generation Action Network. See what they say next time you have a problem.
Criminal history in Missouri prior to the incident on April 23rd. She's being held on a $1 million bond for the charges connected to the killing of firefighter Hoffman.
The work to uncover more information about the facts and circumstances of this horrific crime continues. Let me be perfectly clear. Our office will use all legal, moral, and ethical tools at our disposal to ensure justice for Graham, his family, and our entire community.
Bissell is due back in court here in Clay County 1 week from today. That's for a bond review hearing, and a preliminary hearing has also been set in this case for June 6th. John.
Anybody want to come up? Link is in the description box. What's happening, man?
What's up, Ak? Not much. How are you?
Big Larry in the building, man. Yeah, everything's cool, man. 45 Revolver says, but Brianna was a real paramedic. Yeah, right. Paramedic. Yeah. Brianna. Fucking Brianna.
She's a paramedic who was shackled up with a thug. So
yeah. What's going on? What do you think about the trade-off, man? The community trade-off. This fucking female ape, this she-ape right here, she bit a police officer back on the 23rd. They gave her a $10,000 bond. She posted that. She gets out. The next first responder she comes in contact with, a paramedic who tried to help her with a laceration. She was injured. I don't know how she got injured, but they saw her walking down the street with a laceration on her neck. They stopped the paramedic car, pick her up, stopped the ambulance, pick her up. They're taking her back to the fucking hospital, and this she-ape stabs the paramedic to death. What a trade-off, right?
that's just fucking evil. Like you said, the first responders, they're the only ones who help them. Like Charles Barkley said, who are you gonna call? Not Ghostbusters. Right. And that's what all these people were going around, fuck the police, all that other shit they don't understand. And it's like you said, no good deed goes unpunished. Like, if they didn't pick her up, she probably could have died from that laceration. And she ends up killing the person who helps out. But this just goes to show on a small scale what sons really are like. Like, they'll bite the hands that feed them, and they'll destroy you if you try to help them. Am I right?
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. It's just that it's just sad, man. That I think more people are waking up to that fact that, like, these people will devour you. That's like really the only thing that they're good at. You know what I mean? As far as when it comes to social devouring people.
But what makes you say that the gliders are waking up?
Gliders waking up because gliders are talking about the comment sections. Like, let's see the comment section in this one, man.
Night, friends and family of the Kansas City, Missouri Fire Department.
Let's see. This one doesn't have any comments. They turn the comment.
KMBC 9's Krista Tat.
They turn the comment section off on all of the ones about this fucking she-ape killing this white guy.
KSHB 41 News reporter Abby.
Wow, but yeah, I gotta go. Okay, this one's got some comments. It says, anyone seeing a pattern yet?
Yeah, I remember like 10, 15 years ago, like, nobody would ever say anything racist. Like, oh, you can't judge the community based off of one thing, or they're criminals everywhere. But now it's like every video on a son criminal. Like, there's always like 13% commit 50% of the crimes, or the usual suspect, or same thing, like, ashamed of nothing, offended by everything, all that other stuff. Like it's becoming more and more common. And it's like you said with earlier with Elon, and I said it several times myself. Like before with Jack, what's his name, Jack Dempsey or something, or Dorsey. Yeah, like, this shit would be censored, but with Elon, like, all these white right wingers, like, they're coming out of their echo chambers, and now their posts are becoming more accessible to mainstream audience. So that's definitely definitely a good sign. And
KSHB 41 News reporter Abby Dodge has also been helping.
Good. With Elon, like, because of he's from South Africa, he's a white South African, and because of, like, what's going on in South Africa with the white farmers being assaulted, like, I think that this issue definitely hits close to home for him. So
yeah, he understands that the rhetoric has a lot to do with it too. Like, I mean, it's open season on white people. Like, it literally is open season from the last 10 years, since Trayvon Martin. It is now. I mean, if you're white, you're going to get if you're white, your murder is you're the victim. It is going to be downplayed, and your assailant is going to be treated as if like they were like a tree that fell on you, or you know what I'm saying, like, you know what I mean. Whereas, like, if you are the assailant against a person of color and you're a glider, you're going to be portrayed as, some devious, demented, premeditated devil that, is just out here, just stalking and hunting some people. When they do something to you, it's like almost like a tree fell on you, or a gust of wind blew you into the middle of the street.
You got struck by lightning or whatever.
Yeah, it's not. It's they take the human element out of the assailant, and they you see it in the report here. Look,
KSHB 41 News reporter Abby Dodge has also been helping us cover this story today. She spent the day digging into the suspect's history. Abby, a previous probable cause statement said Shanetta Basel should be considered a danger to the public. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right, Caitlin. 39-year-old Shanetta Basel was making her first appearance in court this afternoon. She is charged with first-degree murder. Cameras were not allowed in the courtroom this afternoon, but I was able to sit inside during those proceedings. Now, Basel did not have a whole lot to say. She appeared via video call, but didn't say much outside of acknowledging her charges and saying that she needs a public defender. I went through police records that claim Basel has shown aggression against first responders before. Just last week, police arrested and prosecutors charged Basel with second-degree assault after they say she bit a police officer who was trying to detain her. The officer said he witnessed Basel trying to get into his personal vehicle. In a probable cause statement related to this weekend's events, the paramedic riding alongside Graham Hoffman said he heard Hoffman yell for Basel to sit back down, then called out for help because she had a knife. Hoffman's partner was driving the ambulance, so he pulled over to help. First-degree murder is punishable by death in the state of Missouri. We reached out to the Clay County Prosecutor's Office to see if they're seeking the death penalty. We also wanted to know if any party has requested a mental health evaluation. A member of the prosecutor's office said they will not be commenting further on this case now that it's moving forward. Prosecutor Zachary Thompson did speak to the press when he announced charges.
Our office will use all legal, moral, and ethical tools at our disposal to ensure justice for Graham, his family, and our entire community.
I tried to speak to the only people inside the courtroom that were not members of the media. When I asked how Basel was related to them and if they would like to speak with me, they repeatedly said no comment while they walked to the parking lot. Now, Bossel's next hearing is set for Monday, May 5th. That's just next Monday, and they're going to be discussing her bond. Caitlin.
Abby, thank you for that. We appreciate it.
Zachary Thompson, and I'm the Clay County prosecutor.
Go ahead. What's up, man? What's your thoughts, man?
That lawyer's I hate that lawyer. I really do. But I mean, she's a she-boom, man. What do you expect? And it's sad because, before security, I used to do respond helpers and stuff like that. So working in the group home, and then got my CPR stuff. But
look, man, this is a clear-cut
I'm
case
never.
of self-defense, man.
Clear-cut
case of self-defense. Nigga, you don't
What's
know
up,
what
Matt
happened in the
Knight?
back of that ambulance, man. He could have been in there bullying her, man.
What? Then they should have just dropped her off right back in the to give it to the coroners. That's it.
Well, there's no way people getting their hopes up about this. I'll be honest with you. I'd be surprised if she was even deemed fit to stand trial, because they're definitely going to go the mental health route.
Oh yeah, so that's 10 years probably she'll get max.
Yeah.
10 years in a fucking hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. That's a good call.
Wait, you guys are saying there's a mental health aspect to this as well? Because I was thinking that too. I was thinking either she was drug induced, or she was just mentally ill.
You must not know. That's the truth.
I don't think it's a mental health. I'm just saying. I'm telling you what her defense is gonna be.
That lawyer is a Juice Crew dude.
I don't know.
He'll use it. He'll use it anyway. So he'll use mental health. It's easy.
But honestly, guys, I think it probably kind of was, because there's no way she just randomly does this, attacks first responders like this out of nowhere. I know sons are sunny, but there's usually something that precedes it, even though it's very small. Nothing preceded this, so maybe there could be that aspect as well. What do you think, Mac? Because you have experience dealing with those types of people.
I do, bro. But just in the years I've been watching this show and just seeing case after case after case, man. I think they're just evil. I think they're just evil people. I could halfway understand if she stabbed a cop. Halfway. I'm not saying that's appropriate. I'm just saying, there's a stigma there and all that. But a fucking firefighter, damn.
Yeah. Said he was a good guy, man. Graham was a dynamite guy, man. So sad, man, that he had to go out like that, man. And you know what? They didn't even call. There wasn't even a call for this bitch. They saw her walking along the side of the road with a laceration, and they pulled over to help her. And then then when she got into the ambulance, the bitch stabbed him in the heart, killed him instantly.
I think the police are supposed to check for weapons, so she shouldn't have been led in the ambulance with a weapon, obviously.
That depends, man. It's we don't know if the cops actually got there before she was in the ambulance or not.
Yeah.
If she was already in the ambulance,
there was no call.
Should have followed protocol. Fuck her. They just saw her walking down the street, so yeah, the police weren't involved.
Facts, yeah. If you need medical assistance, I've been, hurt my leg. I was in the ambulance before. I had a whole gun on me, and nobody checked me. Nobody, you know what I'm saying? Nobody searched me. They're not going to search you unless they have a reason to.
Right. Exactly.
Got you.
Exactly, man. This is the judge that let her out the previous week for biting the police officer.
That's the glider? Wow.
Probably Juice Crew.
Gliders try to put everything on the Juice Crew. So some of y'all do some shit. Y'all gliders be doing some shit too.
Our
But
gliders are wokey woke too, man.
yeah, cut it out. Yeah, but she's a hard-looking woman, man. I think
Yeah.
the
Pass on her.
the whole thing about like jail and shit, gliders, they in bond and bail is not supposed to be punitive. Yes, it is, man. Yes, it is. Bail is to keep these motherfuckers in prison. Bail is supposed to keep these motherfuckers in prison till their trial date. Not have this bitch back on the street. Here's the thing. If you give her a bond now for killing Graham, she's going to go do something else. Gliders think like everybody, like they don't understand the criminal mind. Criminals are different. Regardless of race or whatever, you have to treat criminals different. A lot of gliders don't want to do that. They're hesitant, they're reluctant to treat criminals different than everybody else because it's
Human
not
rights.
to do. Yeah, it's not the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? The right thing to do is no, but man, this type of woman, glider, there's open season on gliders now. Glider life is not respected. It's not respected. That this woman does not respect glider life. I'm sure she doesn't respect life, period, but I guarantee you, man, she respects glider life less, much less. It said, random black chick, man, just sad, man. Snuffed that young man's life out. I mean, snuffed his life out in an instant. It's crazy. He didn't even get a chance to probably process what was happening. Like, she probably just plunged that shit in his chest, and he was dead immediately. Because he was in an ambulance. He was in the best place to be stabbed, inside of an ambulance. If you want to get stabbed anywhere else, if you want to get stabbed in your heart, be in a hospital or ambulance. Those are the best two places to get stabbed in your heart. But sometimes but for some reason, when these sun turds stab you, they stab you right there where that shit, there's nothing that can be done for you.
They got the devil's touch.
I'm telling you. This one says another white victim of black violence stabbed in the heart in an ambulance while rendering assistance. Don't try to help them. Let your altruism take a backseat to self-preservation.
Yeesh.
Right. This one says Graham Hoffman should still be here today, but he's not. Because once again, a violent criminal was immediately released right back onto the streets to prey upon innocent people. His life was ended shortly while trying to transport his murderer to the hospital. Let's go see what happened to Emily Carlson, man. Emily Carlson, man. You next up on the Summer Jam. You next up on the Price is Knife. The Price is Knife. Emily Carlson. Shout out to Muramasa, man. Long time no see. Muramasa in the building. We got Brown Sugar in the building. Shout out to Brown Sugar, man. Muramasa says they always releasing repeat offenders. Shaking my head. I guarantee you this next guy is probably a repeat offender too. Why did that man why did your sister in Boone stab that wonderful white man that was serving his community, Brown Sugar?
Damn, huh?
I don't know.
I know, man. I never know. What would she be thinking, man? Get inside of her brain, man. As a fellow she-boom, man.
What you say?
As a fellow she-boom, man.
You a
What was
she
she
boom.
thinking? What was she thinking, man? That's
a
your
Hebrew.
sister, man.
I don't think she's a she-bone. I don't think Brown Sugar's a she-bone.
Yeah, but she's
He a big Sambo.
she's still
A
like got that
descendant.
coded in her DNA. Like she like a different species. It's like you know how like a garter snake is still a snake, even though it's not a poisonous snake. You know what I'm saying?
That
She
lady
like a.
mentally ill.
We tired of y'all
Don't compare me to the
stabbing.
lady.
We tired of y'all stabbing, killing these white people out here, man. Y'all
Well,
gotta
they
stop
killed
that
us for
shit, man.
400 years, so
Doesn't sound like you really
Stop
believe
it.
that, Brown Sugar.
Stop it.
they killed millions of us on a boat. They be all right.
Debbie, no, stop it.
Yeah, man. But Brown Sugar, we all know that the Africans had a lot to do with that too. But
Okay,
that
and they ain't have
aside,
to buy us and treat us wrong. They did anyway, so they be
Brown
fine.
Sugar, Brown Sugar, would you rather live here or live in Africa? Let me ask you that.
I'm gonna live where God put me at. He put me here.
Brown Sugar, we
Brown
remember what
Sugar.
you said.
Wait. Are you saying God made you? Wait. What? So God is
I'm gonna
responsible
live
for the
where
slave
God
trade?
put me at, and He put me in America, so that's where I'm living.
They can't give us credit for nothing, Hawk.
no, man.
Well,
Hey man,
I'm not
I'll
gonna.
do it for
Now
you,
I'm
man.
not giving
I'm
you
thank
credit for what
y'all.
God did.
Thank
You're
y'all for
right. I'm
bringing us
not.
over here, bro. I ain't trying to go to Africa. Thank you.
What are you trying to do? What happened? Mac, what
Brown
happened?
Sugar said that before.
I said
Brown
I'm
Sugar
gonna
said
go ahead and
that.
give you credit. I appreciate y'all bringing us over here because I ain't trying to live in Africa.
Brown Sugar said that too before. She think we forgot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I said it several times over the years. That's why I ain't finna entertain him.
So tell me this. Let's move on, man.
I think Brown Sugar's pulling us. What do you think?
I don't know, man. Maybe. Let's see this one. This is Emily Carlson. God damn. What's wrong with them? What's wrong with her? Oh, there we go. Emily Carlson, man. She's look at that nice looking white woman, man. It said on April 24th, 2025, Central CTA Green Line Station in Chicago, Emily Carlson, 25-year-old woman, was fatally stabbed by Willie Holmes, a 54-year-old man, after he spat on her during an argument. Holmes is charged with first-degree murder, while a racial slur was reportedly used. Police do not consider the attack racially motivated. So he used a racial slur against her. He spat on her, and then he ultimately stabbed her to death. But it's not racially motivated.
You know, they say. I just want to say this. Like, some say that whenever like they get tried for self defense, like they end up getting charged for murder. But the thing here is, they say that being called a word is self defense. Like they like self defense only applies to defense of your life, not defense of your ego. And sons don't understand that.
Facts.
What do
So
you
how they
say?
cross paths?
Yeah, we're trying to get to the bottom. We know they were on the same train car, and there was an argument. There was the same, like this woman right here. She doesn't look like the type of person to
54-year-old
get
man is
all
now
up in his brother's face. Like, hey man, fuck you looking at, man. Yada yada. You know where I'm from? You know what I'm saying? I'm from Michigan Avenue, motherfucker. Get off my respect me, bitch. I mean, I don't think she said it on them brown shit. What do you think? You think she started it, or you think he started it?
He look like he started. He look crazy. It's in the eyes. He look crazy.
Do you feel any less bad for her because she's a white woman?
I feel horrible for her. If she was a Chinese woman, she a human. She didn't deserve to get killed like that. And then not to say it wasn't racially motivated and he called her a racial slur, that's stupid.
It's retarded.
Yeah. Cut her life short. Cut her shit short. Let's see if we can find anything more about this, man. Oh yeah, they talking about the white on black murders. Let me see.
I think if they did charge a Sun Man with a hate crime, it would really open the floodgates. So I can see why they're not doing it, why they're afraid to set that
I
precedent.
think the only time they could charge a Sun Man a hate crime would be if they kill maybe a homosexual,
A
a Jew or a homosexual. That's it.
Or if they're like a Hebrew Israelite or maybe a Muslim, they would charge them with a hate crime.
Yeah, like those four.
Like that, this story's getting so little coverage. He spat on her. Listen to the coverage. This is the only
54-year-old man is now being charged for killing of a woman.
This is the only news story you can find on this.
54-year-old man is now being charged for killing of a woman near a West Side CTA station. Police say Willie Holmes stabbed a 25-year-old woman near the Green Line station at Central and Lake on Thursday. She later died from her injuries. Holmes is charged with one count of first-degree murder. 54-year-old man is now being charged for killing of a woman.
That's
No
terrible.
no GoFundMe. Her family
17 seconds. That's it. That's all she get.
Yep.
But we don't control the media. Gliders do, so
Yeah,
I blame y'all.
That is true.
Not just any gliders, but say KB.
Brown Sugar, if gliders control the media, this shit will be front page news everywhere.
Then make it front page news.
Liberal gliders, but liberal gliders don't. Liberal gliders definitely wouldn't. Put this
Why
out
Fox
there.
News ain't talking about it?
Because they're owned by the juice crew.
Yeah, but it's a lot. Like it is a lot though. If you think about it, like think about the last one. These stories are happening back to back to back. This firefighter, because American people don't have a lot of bandwidth, so you got to get them with one story, kind of like the Carmelo Anthony story. How they tried to do that, but then that backfired. The Suns flipped that. We flipped that on y'all. We flipped that. The way Karmelo's now the victim and shit. And Austin's the evil guy. Salute to Zachariah Sands of the Sea. Peace out in the chat. If she did this in Africa, she would have never made it inside the ambulance. Yeah,
There's no other country on earth where the alleged oppressed are running amok like here. There's no other country on earth that you can show.
Mac, if they were oppressed, they wouldn't be doing half the shit that they were doing. They wouldn't be doing 1% of 1% of the shit that they're doing.
That's why I said alleged.
And to the people who are allegedly oppressing them. Like our number one victim is our oppressor. We're not like oppressing another group that happens to be here. We're oppressing. We're killing the group that we claim is oppressing us.
It's actually the other way around. Sons are oppressing gliders. They kill gliders at a very high rate. They rape gliders at a very high rate, and they fucking extract resources from gliders while not doing any work. Like who's being exploited? The gliders are being exploited, and they're being told
prey
their
on
lives
us.
don't
They
matter.
don't oppress us.
What?
They prey on us. They don't oppress us.
Oh yeah, the Jews, the sons prey on us. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, man. Do you think that some people actually believe that they are being? I'm talking about like majority. Do you think majority of some people actually believe they're being oppressed, or are they just saying that because it works in their favor so much?
No,
I think some people, but
no. You say it.
I think some people have been taught that they live in a perpetual state of oppression, and therefore, just them existing, they're depression. So they're anything that goes wrong or doesn't go their way or is unfavorable or uncomfortable is just evidence of their perpetual oppression that they've convinced themselves that they live in. Or infinite oppression. Shout out to Osa the Healer. He says, for the sun women. Oh man, them sun women be fucking whacking gliders, man. This shit is unconscionable. Let me see. Let me go to the gun memorial, man. So y'all whacked any gliders,
Classic.
shot any gliders recently, man. Brown Sugar, you know any of your sisters that have whacked any gliders recently, man?
Nope, because they don't deal with y'all. They don't be killing no white people. They too busy trying to fight off the sun man.
There's the old Brown Sugar we know and love.
We just did a story about them killing a white man.
Let's see.
You saw one story, but how many your kind killed black women?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know
You
how
tell
many.
me.
Tell us.
You tell me. You tell us.
I'm just saying. She killed one white man, but how many people that look like you killed black women?
Well, I
This
mean,
week alone.
that's another conversation, I think,
Okay
because
then.
like y'all are very aggressive.
It's a
Y'all
bit.
like to get in men's
Y'all too.
face, and
You aggressive too.
right,
It's a
but
bit
we can handle that
tangential.
aggression. You can't.
You can't handle that aggression. Yeah, if
We
you can handle
can.
aggression, why
That's why
you
y'all
free?
end up getting
Why
killed.
did the men that look like you was locked up more?
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's how y'all be getting killed because y'all got smart ass mouths.
See? And see, that's how you get stabbed. Playing.
Well, nah, baby, that ain't me now. I keep the thing on me. Don't worry about it.
That's all right. I can get my brothers and my cousins.
That's okay. I got enough for all of them. Shit.
And then y'all, this is how the cycle continues.
No, that's how the cycle ends.
No, it keep
Shit.
continuing.
There ain't gonna be no cycle with me. Shit.
That's it. And you're right, because once they get you for getting me, it's over.
Okay.
Mm. Look at this shit. Look how many sisters is in on this fucking. How many sisters get killed? Look this sister get shot. Kamaya Sims, 19. Wow, the mother and two daughters killed in Sunflower County. Damn. Their mother
That's
and
terrible.
It was probably out there talking shit.
hey.
Like
Mad
that
shit.
white man probably was talking shit too and got stuck. Oh, you don't
Wow.
like how they sound, do it. Okay.
Wow. Let's see this one.
And suicide under. Breaking news now, a triple homicide and suicide under investigation tonight in Sunflower County. A mother and her two teenage daughters were found in Drew. 40-year-old Akila Wallace, 19-year-old Kamaya Sims, and 18-year-old Bronisha Sims were found on Joseph Street. A foot pursuit began in Rome to catch three suspects. Two were taken into custody. A third was found with an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was pronounced dead at a hospital this afternoon. The bodies of all four are being brought to the Mississippi State Medical Examiner's office. Tonight, 3 on Your Side received a statement from the mayor of Drew, Melanie Townsend Blackman, and the Board of Aldermen. It says in part, Akilah Wallace was more than a resident of Drew. She was a beacon of light whose vibrant, witty, and uplifting personality brought joy to everyone she encountered.
Damn. So some people whacked the whole family. That's crazy. Um, that's a rough one, man. That's a rough one, man. Let me see. We didn't hear about that one. So this is Akilah, Bomisha. This is Akilah. This is the mom. This is the mom. This is Mississippi. That's the mom. Deadly shooting, these 3 dead and Drew. Damn. That's the mom. Wow.
I'm seeing a super chat.
The
Lux 247 says they need the link again.
Oh yeah, this is the mom. Okay. The link.
The mom was pretty.
Yeah, she was for a big girl. Right. She pretty for a big girl, right?
Pass.
I don't know if she big. I can't see her body.
You can't tell she big.
Man,
She
you be
big.
surprised these girls' head big like that with skinny bodies.
She
pass
big.
on that.
She a thickum.
Oh yeah, she chubby.
Chubby, man.
It's a dead
Yeah.
giveaway when all your photos are
It's just your
Just your
head.
face.
Just your head. If she had a body, she would show it off. Ain't no woman with no body that don't show it off. Shout out to Muramas. He says if the races were reversed, Sharpton, Crump, and Dr. Umar would be hollering, the media would be on fire. Crump has kind of slowed down a little bit though, man. Crump is, I mean, the cases he's taking, we went to his site a little while back. He is on some cases. He's working some cases, but he hasn't taken the big cases lately.
Dr.
He's playing
Umar
the shadows.
too busy worrying about interracial dating, which is none of his business. He too busy worrying about that, and he don't even have a woman.
Right, exactly. He don't have a black family. He posted every time you see him, you supposed to see his black wife, like in the cover in the background, his black 2.5 black
He got
children.
baby mamas.
Right. He just like a regular nigga. Damn, she got whacked. I don't know what the fuck happened to her. Man faces charges after fatal shooting of lover. Is this a trans person?
You never know.
It's not like you never know. That shit is obvious,
Looks
bro.
like it.
That's a man, bro.
Yeah.
You think that's a
That's a
dude?
man tattoo on his neck.
The tattoo is pretty suspect.
Martino Lewis, 21 years old, from St. Louis, second-degree murder, armed criminal action, third-degree domestic assault. Kelsey Elam shot his romantic interest. So they never referred to her by pronouns or anything, just romantic interest. Oh yeah, she passed away due to her injuries. Okay, let's see. Is this a yikes? Is this a I don't know. That could be a chick. I mean, I don't know. It could be. Who knows, man?
They get them fillers now, and they take their estrogen to make them look more feminine.
Still,
yeah, they do a lot of shit.
Yeah, definitely. It's more trouble. You might as well just stay the fucking man.
What happened to Andre Lamar Montero?
You think he cute?
Yeah.
Said search for a man who fatally shot ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend. So he was the new boyfriend. He got shot by the ex-boyfriend. Ah, man, nigga. Shit.
I hate y'all, man.
That nigga got whacked out by the ex-boyfriend,
I
man.
hate y'all. Y'all get on my nerves.
Hey, do sun women hate
Why?
sun men more than sun men hate sun women?
No.
Yes. We don't hate some women. That's a common misconception, bro. We don't hate some women. We know y'all. Like we know what y'all like.
Some of them do hate them though. Some of them hate them. I can say that. Some
Yeah, the ones that hate us got podcasts and talk about us every day.
hate them motherfuckers.
I can't run to the back.
Well, these oh man, shout out. Let me see. Salute to Malik. Malik Quelly says it's very sad. I don't know what's worse, stabbing or being stabbed by a son man named Willie. Willie. Yeah, man. You know what? Let me get off of here, man. Let me get on to another. It goes to give me a city, man. Give me a city, guys. Give me a city. Anybody?
Pittsburgh.
Oh man, that's a good
Or
one, man.
Memphis, the place that Brown Sugar fled because of people
Tired
that
of Memphis.
ruined
He
it.
just did Memphis the other day.
Yeah, if you do Memphis every
Hey,
day,
well, I mean,
Memphis.
God put you there though.
He ain't put me there. I'm not there now.
Why not?
What's up,
He
bro?
put me in America. I mean, I can go anywhere in
He put you in
America.
Memphis and you fucking left because it's full of sons. That's why you're not going back to Africa either.
I never been to Africa.
I know, and you ain't going.
I ain't playing for that plane ticket there.
You might be missing out. Who knows?
You might be missing out. Go to South Africa.
On Europe?
Your people there too.
Not anymore.
A man convicted of fatally shooting his close friend in Aliquippa could go before a judge again. In 2021, Sheldon Jeter Jr. was found guilty in the murder of Tyreek Pugh, but Jeter's lawyers had raised concerns about a juror in the case. They asked the trial judge for an evidentiary hearing to look into whether that juror had an undisclosed bias or had done some things jurors aren't allowed to do, but the judge denied it. Jeter's appeals lawyers had been fighting for an evidentiary hearing for the past 3 years. Last week, the state Supreme Court ruled in their favor. The lawyer who represented Jeter in his first case says it's a big win, but it does create some problems.
One of the difficulties has been 3 years. I mean, if we had had that hearing in the moment when everything was going on and everything was happening, I think we would have been better off finding out what really happened. Now we have to recreate it and find out what went on 3 years ago.
Jeter was also named a person of interest in the 2018 murder of Rachel Del Tondo, but he was never charged in that case.
That's a man cold as ice, man. Pittsburgh.
The search is on for the person who fired shots outside of a Washington County elementary school.
The gunfire sent sheriff's deputies scrambling to get students to safety. Shelley Board says more now on how they happen to be in the right place at the right time.
Students were on the playground there at John F. Kennedy Elementary School when the shots rang out across the sidewalk here. Now, police tell us Washington County Sheriff's deputies just so happened to be at the school with the DARE program, heard the gunfire, and got the kids to safety.
But it seems like everything occurred outside here, right on the street and on the sidewalk.
It was shortly before noon when sheriff's deputies heard multiple shots outside John F. Kennedy Elementary School. Deputies quickly ushered the students in from recess, moved students away from windows, and secured the building. Then they responded to the scene where they found a man who had been shot.
To have a shooting in the middle of the daylight, in the middle of a neighborhood here is obviously out of the ordinary.
While the victim was being rushed to a local hospital, detectives immediately got to work to try and piece together what happened. They're interviewing witnesses, looking at surveillance cameras in the area, and collecting evidence.
When kids are at school, they should feel safe.
When the city's mayor heard about the shooting and how close it was to the school, he immediately went to the scene. While he condemns the shooter, he praises school officials and law enforcement for their quick action.
The school and the sheriff's office, with the way they work to make sure those kids were safe. I've already got calls from residents saying they commend them on getting them kids off the playground,
Glider woman,
and making sure they were safe.
Sloppy.
I want all those parents of those students to know that the staff and the sheriff's
That's the
office
mayor of
did a phenomenal
Pittsburgh?
job taking care of your kids to make sure they were not part of another scene.
Yeah,
Police are asking anyone who has surveillance video from their homes or their business in this area to get in touch with them. Reporting in Washington, Shelley Bortz, KDKA TV News.
Damn. What's good, Unc? How you feeling?
Justice for Tyreek! Man, how's it going? What's cracking?
Man, cool. What's up, everybody? Cool, man. I'm just checking in, man. See what's up with my people.
Yeah,
out
man.
here.
DC fire, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I just try to stay out the way, man.
Yeah, got to, man. DC is on fire, man. YNs be out there trying to make a name for themselves and shit.
Hey, you heard they bringing the Commanders back to RFK?
What do you mean they're gonna build? The RFK is a piece of junk.
Yeah, they obviously got to rebuild it. They said 2030 they bringing them back to the city.
That's
They
awesome.
just announced it today. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Because they've been with 97. They've been away since 97. God damn, that's a long time.
Damn, was it that long? Damn.
Yeah. And yeah, that's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. Beautiful, man. Beautiful. I can't wait, man. Go see a game there. Let's see this guy right here.
New at noon, we are getting our first look at the man accused of locking up a woman for days, tying her up, and repeatedly burning her with an iron. Burton Bird is charged with aggravated assault and kidnapping, among other things. The victim told police Bird kept her for 3 days, refusing to let her leave their apartment in Perry South. During that time, she was beaten and suffered burns to about 60% of her body. The woman told police Bird was, quote, punishing her because he believed she was cheating on him. She is.
Okay, brown sugar. There you go, man. There you go, man. We laid the gauntlet down, man. This is how we gonna respond to cheating going forward.
Told y'all evil. 60% of her body is burned.
With an iron.
With an iron.
Iron is rough. That's a rough thing to burn somebody with. God damn. He must have kept, like, that's torture. Like, keep burning her over and over again with the iron. So this is 60% of her body. Yikes.
Makes me think he's killed a woman before.
Oh, this ain't his first rodeo.
Of course
man.
he has.
Right.
And if he
Or
didn't
rape,
let
or maybe a
bond,
rapist.
I wonder if he gets out on bond too, man. Because I mean, nowadays you never know. They could give him a bond because all the cities are giving a bond. They have to give you a bond. I wonder if they could give him they'll give him a bond that he could pay.
And we don't know, and we don't even know the race of the woman because she could be a glider or a son. It don't matter. Son, man, do it to whoever.
Yeah, Shannon Sharp be choking him. This is horrible, man. All jokes aside, man. You can anybody can imagine what that woman went through for those 3 days. I mean, God damn, man. I mean, 3 days.
He probably wouldn't let her pee. He probably wouldn't let her poop. She could have been on her period. She probably had no food. She probably had no water.
Yeah.
That's torture. We don't even know how old she is. She could be young. She could be elderly. We don't even know.
Yeah. This is gruesome. Damn, this is a rough crime. Burton Bird. Shit, he said she was cheating.
Bird was, quote, punishing her because he believed she was cheating on him. She is now recovering. Bird is sitting in the Allegheny County Jail.
Jeez.
He need to burn in hell for what he did. Because I guarantee you,
How
a
can a
man like
TV
that,
station help you build a better community?
he'll do it again.
Man, that's fucking crazy, man. White man came and saved her, though, man. Shout out to the white man, police officers for coming to save her, man.
And on that
Yeah,
note,
shout out
good
glider
morning,
cops.
everyone.
This would have been a
Thank
good
you.
case for them to beat his tail when they arrested him.
Yeah, we don't want no protest, though, man.
Yeah, they can't do
Yeah, they
that.
would have messed the case up.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, okay.
We have a sad update out of Braddock Hills this morning. Ashley Wilson, the owner of Poppy Red.
This memorial sits outside of Poppy Reds in honor of the restaurant owner who recently passed away. Ashley Wilson, who was also known as Poppy, made a huge impact in the community for his positive outlook on life. If you live in Braddock Hills, you know about the barbecue restaurant Poppy Reds, the business built off love. As soon as State Representative Abigail Salisbury met the owner, Ashley Wilson, who was known as Poppy, she said his caring spirit and faith in God was unforgettable.
He would tell me, I'm making my food in an attitude of prayer. And he really wanted people to feel that came through. It's like when they say, food was made with love. I would say that is a lot of what he put into his business and his work.
When Wilson ran into hardships like pipes bursting at Poppy Reds during frigid weather, Salisbury called on the community, who was happy to support the small business.
And I think that sometimes what you put out into the world comes back to you. And when I was looking last night through the pictures of all the people lined up outside of his business and, when we really got people to come together.
Now those people are mourning the death of Wilson, including the new owner of the plaza where the business sits. Wilson was facing eviction, but William DeMeo wiped his debt slate clean because he said Wilson was an amazing man who deserved his dream.
I'm a businessman, but I have a heart.
Oh, wow. White guy paid off all his debt, man. Ain't that some shit? He was facing eviction, then the white guy came and paid off his debt. Look at white Jesus, man. Just like white Jesus, man.
Facing eviction, but William DeMeo wiped his debt slate clean because he said Wilson was an amazing man who deserved his dream.
I'm a businessman, but I have a heart. You know what I'm saying? And he pulled on my heart. I mean, he came to work every day. He loved and had a passion for what he did. He believed in his product, which is really the most important thing. I mean, if you believe in what you're selling and you love it and you understand, it's not work. It's a joy. You have joy coming to work every day.
Wilson's family is mourning their loss, but the community wants to
Shout
send
out to that white man for helping that black dude, man, who couldn't pay his bills, man. Shout out to you. Thank you, white man, on behalf of that black dude. That black dude probably didn't even say thank you, man. So we don't
He needed somebody to run his books for him that wasn't a son. He probably had some sister back there tapping them long ass nails in some fucking notepad.
Don't do that. He was a failure as a black man. He doesn't need a sister there.
Jeez. Wow. Give me another city, man. Another city, man. We
St. Louis.
Tapped out of Pittsburgh. St. Louis, the Lou.
New Haven.
Man, shout out to everybody, man, out there, man. Everybody hit the like button, man, right now, man. If you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button, man. We trying to jump up in this algorithm, man. We trying to let this algorithm know we here, man. Shout out to Deluxe 247. Did I drop the link again? I think I did.
Yeah, you did.
Link is in the description. Salute to Big Larry in the building, man. St. Louis, the Lou. Lou never let you down. I'm telling you. You hear me? Lou never let you down. Them niggas, yeah, they know how to son. They professional sons, man.
I just feel so sorry for the people, kids. I'm just speechless.
Developing now, new video coming into our newsroom tonight showing the aftermath of a tragedy. A driver rammed through an Illinois daycare, killing 4 people, including children. This is First Alert 4 at 10. I'm Corey Stark. Samantha Jones is off tonight. At this hour, we know the victims are between the ages of 4 and 18. Illinois State Police say a driver crashed into this daycare this afternoon. This happened in Chatham, Illinois, about 20 minutes south of Springfield and an hour and a half north of downtown St. Louis. Tonight, our Kimberly Donahue is in Chatham working to find out how this happened. Kim?
Corey, I'm just down the block from the Why Not After School Camp, a place where many people here in Chapman tell me is the cornerstone of the childhood experience. And tonight, the center of tragedy where 4 people, including children, are dead.
Nothing like this ever happens in our little community.
Tragedy unfolding in
Okay, so that's the suburbs, man. That's the suburbs, man. Let's see what's happening in the city, man. Oh man, Sista's making history, man. Look.
Tonight, a local woman is making history in Baldwin. Tequila Gray was sworn in tonight, making her the first Black woman to ever be elected to the Baldwin Board of Aldermen. She was elected.
Oh, come on, man.
Her name is Tequila.
Yo, this first Black shit is getting old, man. She was the first Black person to get accepted to goddamn fucking Shirley's School of Beauty and nails and shit. Like, what the fuck, man? The first Black woman, Baldwin. I never even heard of Baldwin. What, they got like 20 people?
Yeah, it must be one of those areas that was gliders, and now the Suns have moved in after they ruined another area. And they started taking up city council positions and turning them into shit.
Sun Conquest.
First
like
Black
Dalton.
woman. Oh, God.
Tonight, a local woman is making history in Baldwin. Tequila Gray was sworn in tonight, making her the first Black woman to ever be elected to the Baldwin Board of Aldermen. She was elected to represent the city's 2nd Ward. Gray hopes her election to this position shows others the door is open for those who want to make a change.
Bitch, the door been open.
That's what I want to say. It's so annoying. I think I agree with the first, like, Black first this. You're in a white majority country. You know, it's stating the obvious.
Didn't a Black woman allegedly just run for president? Wasn't she just vice president, a Black woman that y'all said was a Black woman? Just vice president? Huh?
She's
Like
not Black.
literally.
It's funny. She said she wasn't Black, and then she hopped on that "I'm Black" shit just to get votes, and that didn't even work out for her.
Of course.
She was the first
No,
POC.
it did work out for her. Black people thought that she was Black.
They didn't.
It just,
It's like they claim mixed people are Black. They just like to add to their numbers when it suits them.
Look at her. She gonna come there and look at these white people. They don't even know, these white people are so proud of themselves.
Yeah, there's a bunch of older gliders that have no idea what the fuck is coming.
Yeah, she couldn't have ruined.
Like, she's a Christian, guys. She's Christian.
Yeah, she about to wreck shop. She about to accuse all these people of racist. All these people gonna be accused of racism in a year. I guarantee.
Well, and she's gonna find some other sisters or brothers or whatever in the area to run for some of these other seats.
Oh yeah, she's getting that glider woman up out of there first.
She gonna steal some money. You know, she's gonna some funds going into this. Shout out to the art bill, man.
She gonna give it to her drug dealer nephew.
Within 2 more election cycles, there'll be at least 3 of them on this panel.
Wow, they don't even know what hit them.
It feels good. It's a long time coming. I don't feel like I should be the first person, but I'll take it. And as the first person.
What are you talking about? It's Baldwin. Let me see the fucking.
Yeah, I was about to ask, what are the demographics of
man.
Baldwin?
Baldwin.
But if no other black person ran for her seat, what she expect?
Yeah, that
She
does
really
also
didn't even have to
confuse me
say
as
that.
well.
I feel like she kind of throwing the city under the bus a little, like throwing
Already, yeah.
shade.
It's 76% white, 8% Asian, and 2% black.
Oh, so this is a
So they should
super
have
nice
even had
area.
an Asian person before her, technically.
So
I
in
mean, the
other
fact
words,
that there's a glider at all on the panel offends her.
This is disproportionately black. This panel, this group is disproportionately black.
Yeah, she's overrepresented.
She's overrepresented black.
She needed to be mixed to make the representation.
Right.
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 2% black. 2% black. And she talking about it should have been. Why not just be thankful that these? Why not appreciate? Like, hey,
Just the role and the job, to be honest.
Yeah, these white people have proven that they can see past color. Why? I should have been in it now. Like, damn, bitch. I always take the negative standpoint in this.
Typical song moment.
And she arrogant too. You tell she arrogant.
It feels good. It's a long time coming. I don't feel like I should be the first person, but I'll take it. And as the first person, I have to make sure that I do the best job that I can do. I don't want to let anybody down, but I also want people to know that regardless of who they are, if this is something that they want to do, that it is in reach.
And in Gray's 2 years.
Yeah, no black
person.
Yeah, she about to run that shit.
So
I don't like her attitude. It stink.
Yeah.
Like she wasn't even thankful to getting elected or anything. She just and like you said, it's 70% white. What does she expect?
Yeah, she's
So
gonna
then
be
also,
walking around with a chip on her shoulder like the whole time she's there.
that glider woman is getting up out of there. I see that.
I mean, they only have 2% blacks there, so she's probably going to try to pass some ordinance for low income housing or some shit.
Exactly. This is exactly how it works.
They
She's
probably
gonna
got
go.
that.
There was something they did in my local area like that. Got one son man on this little township panel, and what did he do? Sign some refugee letter bullshit to get Haitians in there. One son man on a local township panel, a bunch of gliders, and the gliders were a bunch of it's like an upper middle class area, and they found out about it, and then he called them all racist.
Well, y'all should have voted a white man in. Or you
Yep,
some men should have
that is
ran
what you should
and
do.
took her
Do not
spot, but
vote for
you
no
didn't.
son ever.
Got a woman in it. So hey, whatever. Deal with it.
New details tonight in connection to a body found in Granite City. Two suspects in this case, Dwayne Franklin and Brittany Howard, are both charged now with first-degree murder. Michael McCullum is charged with obstruction of justice. Police are still looking for Howard, but Franklin and McCullum are in custody. Last Thursday, Kenneth Whitehorn was found dead on Alton Street near Pontoon Road in Granite City. A source told First Alert 4 someone walking their dog found Whitehorn's remains.
Dang.
New details.
Dang.
Nyla Simmons' family and friends are left remembering the teen. They say she was a social butterfly that loved a good time, doing just that last night when she lost her life. Now her parents are asking people to learn from her mistakes and be safe while having fun. It was around 11:20 p.m. Saturday night when a night of fun took a tragic turn. Police say an Escalade stopped at a red light. Once the truck took the left turn, 18-year-old Nyla Simmons, who was dancing on top of the car, fell off. Moments later, she was hit by a fire truck that was responding to a call.
Fire.
Yo, what?
Nyla Simmons' parents at a loss for words, trying to describe what happened to their daughter less than 24 hours ago.
And it's a lot of people gonna miss her, but we ain't gonna never be the same.
I'm still in shock right now.
They say Nyla was attending a friend's prom send-off prior to the accident.
We just wanted the best for Nyla. Nyla, the incident, it's just tragic the way she died. But
So she was twerking on top of the car.
that's what hurt the most. The way she died.
That's
When
wild.
Nyla was out having fun. That's what she like, having fun, hanging with her friends.
Nyla was the youngest of 5. She graduated from Parkway North High
That's
School
exactly
last
why I
year
wanted to
and
go to
was set
St.
to
Louis.
start cosmetology school at Grabber School of Hair Design on Monday.
She's going to cosmetology school. She's about to start cosmetology school.
When I went to St. Louis years ago, I went around this time of the year during prom season, and a lot of the girls was like twerked on the cars, and the young men would like hang out the windows, spreading the money. So yeah, they was doing it back then when I was there. But she got struck by a fire truck
Yeah, no chance.
responding to a call. And she's short and she's not a big girl, so she's like ripped up to pieces.
Jeez.
Monday.
I'm highly distraught that I don't get to see what she was gonna become.
Her parents say they don't blame her friends. They were just teens being teens, saying no one could have ever guessed that the night would end up with Nyla losing her life.
But we all been young before. We all done did some type of things where it could have ended up bad for us.
The parents wanting everyone to learn from Nyla's mistakes, hoping this incident can stop another teen from doing the same.
And we want all her people and her friends to like take this and like learn from it. Like,
don't get on top of a car, y'all.
Remembering Nyla Simmons as their youngest
Don't shoot
baby
each
who
other
lit up
either.
every room
You
she went
need
into.
somebody to tell you that. Like, if you need somebody to tell you not to get twerk on top of a moving car.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Some women need that.
She just was like wilding out that night. She woke up somewhere.
She young, man. You I'm sure you guys.
I was young, but
there's youth and there's stupidity, and
I knew not to get on top of a moving car to do anything. It's dangerous.
Yeah, it's one thing to hang on the side of a car.
Even
It's
more.
another thing to stand on top of it.
Crazy.
No, I mean the way they set it up was that she was, crossing the road and unfortunately got struck at a crossing. Not
I
that
thought she was like
twerking.
12 in the middle of the street
Yeah,
playing.
I mean, they used her
and got hit by a car.
preteen picture. But a whole 18-year-old twerking, I'm sorry, my sympathy isn't really there.
Wake up,
Armed man in custody tonight after a standoff in St. Charles City near a popular nightlife area.
Yeah, law enforcement fanned out across an apartment complex this afternoon. This is on San Juan Drive near the streets of St. Charles. And police say the arrest stemmed from an Easter Sunday shooting.
Kimberly Donahue joins us live outside the St. Charles City Police Department, where this investigation is ongoing tonight. Kim?
I'm live outside the St. Charles City Police Department, where investigators are looking into a shooting where they believe Isaac Foster pulled the trigger. Law enforcement took him into custody today after an hours-long stand-up that left neighbors rattled.
It's a little overwhelming to walk home and see your street shut down.
Police vehicles crowded San Juan Drive and 5th Street in St. Charles Thursday afternoon for nearly 3 hours. It's just steps away from the streets of St. Charles.
Definitely new. Like, it's usually laid back, calm, quiet, family neighborhood.
St. Charles police say they've been investigating one of the people living inside this complex after a shooting Sunday.
We were notified of that the day after Easter, so we have been investigating. We developed a suspect, got information went out there today and he barricaded himself inside the apartment.
Just before 4 p.m. Thursday, 34-year-old Isaac Foster came out of the apartment building peacefully. Police say in this.
I would take 1,000 of these guys over 2 of these motherfuckers right here.
Yeah, it's a little safer.
Just make sure you keep your kids away from them, because out of 1,000, about 500 of them child molesters.
Damn, 500. Okay.
Brown sugar.
They booty chasers.
Yeah.
It's a part of their culture too.
Damn. But these motherfuckers right here, dangerous. Look at that. Dangerous motherfucker.
Helped a suspect, got information, went out there today and he barricaded himself inside the apartment.
Just before 4 p.m. Thursday, 34-year-old Isaac Foster came out of the apartment building peacefully. Police say in this same area 4 days ago, an argument between Foster and another person led to the shooting.
It was in the afternoon. There's a lot of kids out hunting for Easter eggs. Families are out. You know, it's dangerous.
Investigators tell First Alert 4 they recovered a gun with Foster Thursday, but it's not clear if it's the same gun
Brown
used
sugar
in the
said it.
Easter
Look at the
Sunday
eyes.
shooting. People I spoke to say they typically know what's going on with their
Yeah, that
neighbors,
dude's
but
pure evil,
week's
man.
end comes as a
Pure evil.
surprise.
When I first moved in, I got to know my neighbors and figure out who's who and who does what, and I just go off that. It's like, okay, if I don't like you, I will just not be around you.
I mean, you got your typical, how do I put it? Normal traffic nowadays for any area.
Yeah, he wanted to say your typical N-word.
Foster is charged with unlawful
He
use
did.
of a weapon and first-degree property damage. He's in custody on a $500,000 cash-only bond. Reporting live in St. Charles County, Kimberly Donahue, First Alert 4.
All right, Kim, thank you. Now to a live look.
Lil Baby went into rival gang territory to film.
Wake
that's
up.
a diss, right? And what do you think that's going to create? Pop, 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 pop.
This dude's so cringe, I swear.
Yeah, his son died of an overdose.
This guy?
You gotta wake up.
He's just trying to market himself, KB. That's all.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers. Wearing my pearl handle. I should actually say armed. I'm armed with my pearl handle
He only
pistol
responds
cuffs.
to Sun Women.
So graciously gives
I
it to
gotta
me
call
by a
him out.
former content genius, Michael Rivers.
Thanks for the $100 super
A lot of
chat.
things going on today. We're going to react to a potential indictment on Lil Baby and kind of how that whole thing is going to transpire. We've got some fan
wake up.
news. I got a thing in the mail today that I want to show you guys.
Like
It's
a bag
smart
of
that
rocks.
Michael created. So before we get to that, this is brought to you by AskALawyer.com. AskALawyer.com is a really inexpensive
You
way
just
for
fell
you to
asleep
kind of
like
have
that?
a legal
Who said stop
situation to analyze.
self-sleeping?
Let's say you have a
Michael.
landlord-tenant dispute. Do I have a claim? You know, I mean, my grandma thinks she does. So she called AskALawyer.com, and guess what? She learned she didn't. Grandma. No, I'm just joking. I treat my grandma well. She's in my basement, and, you know, I changed the sheets.
Yeah, we gotta
every
let him
3 to 4
sleep it.
months on her bed.
He gotta
You
sleep
know,
it off.
She's okay. But she was able to go to AskALawyer.com and get some legal advice. You know, am I being mistreated? Does this meet what the law is? Whatever you need in terms of a lawyer question, they have live lawyers at the ready for $49. That is cheap as hell. And
You can't wake
it
up from
doesn't
that.
bind
man.
you
I
to
don't know what to
anything.
tell you.
And they also have an AI version
It worked once before.
that all the, you know, they have all the,
wake
the AI
up.
trained on all the state and federal laws in this country. So you can get just about any answer
I've
to
lost
a
all
question
my
that you
power
have.
to
So go to
waking up people.
AskALawyer.com.
Sorry.
They're incredible sponsors for CLR.
You gotta let him
They
sleep it
also,
off.
Same people that brought you
Well,
eForm and
last time
eSign.
on
So
his
go to AskALawyer.com.
stream
click
from
the
last
link
week,
below.
that was about 20 minutes.
Right.
Too
Okay.
good.
Before we get to that, we got a little fan
He
news.
did good yesterday. He had a good show
we have,
yesterday.
Joanne D. Patricia from Sagal,
It's funny,
Idaho.
I used to be so into the NHL and NFL.
Throw me a nice
and
card,
now I
a
think
pair of
my life.
cufflinks.
I'm still NHL is still my
with
top.
the three
but
monkeys. This is the Hear No Evil.
with the
See No
draft,
Evil.
I don't really
Speak No
follow
Evil.
it.
So thank you, Joanne. And Kimberly Arland from Tulsa, Oklahoma, congratulations
get
on
what,
your candidacy for JD, that's Juris Doctor. You got an invitation to your hooding. I won't be able to be there. I would love to be there, but I will be in a RICO trial at that time. So the federal government has my ass for the next couple of weeks after that. But thank you for the invitation. Oh, and she says, I've learned so much for your videos. Thank you very much. You're just, I love these cards. And then Philip Whitaker send me a nice note about Michael. And, you know, I've had so many well wishes about Michael. And I'm not going to mince words. It's been fucking hard. You know, like this morning, I had a nightmare about him last night. And sometimes it's just fucking hard. But I will have to say, you know, with friends and family and all you guys, I've
wake
had
up.
so many well wishes. If you're struggling with drugs, it ain't nothing to get some fucking help, you know. And if you're dealing with somebody, don't give up on them. Don't give up on them no
wake
matter
up.
what. They might piss you off because they fucking lie to you. They do some stupid shit. They wreck your shit. But you love them anyway, and just be strong and love
Told
them.
you, gotta let them. You gotta let them
So,
wake it off.
I told you that I was
Just a little catnap.
going to show you something that I just had done. So Michael, when
Make yourself listen to this retard.
I've been awake all
Yeah, he's
night.
pretty
and then
rough.
I fell asleep at the beginning of his stream when it was the desert demon who had the domestic violence against his wife.
Hey, Panthea, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Who do you think is worse, Suns or Desert Demons? I think they're the exact same. Like they operate the same.
Suns. Absolutely, Suns. It's not even close.
Desert Demons are just more organized. Desert
Mm.
Demons are more organized and they're a little more
They're
efficient.
just as parasitic as the Suns. You know, they come in.
They
come in.
also they
Go ahead.
created Islam, like they're Islam, so that kind of knocks them down to Sun status more or less.
They're just more organized than Sun.
Yeah.
And they actually throw stuff in the garbage sometimes.
No, they don't. Like, if you want to check out, so Birmingham hasn't had a bin collection for nearly a month now. I think it's probably been about a month because the bin.
They destroyed Birmingham.
Yeah, the bin
man.
collectors are on strike because they want more money. So they have not been collected. And Birmingham is one of the cities that the Desert Demons have taken over, like Pakistanis especially.
Jesus.
So you can
That was
literally
a nice area.
I don't think Birmingham was ever nice. But
That was all right.
Yeah, no, because it was an industrial city. So they have destroyed that even with just this rubbish issue. Like the amount of dumping.
What's
Don't
up?
do it. Don't fall asleep. Get your face off your hand. You put your face on your hand, you're gone.
No, I'm listening to y'all, man.
Nah, dog.
I think the Desert Demon is he presents different challenges. Like the sun destroys your city in a more chaotic way. The Desert Demon, like Mark said, they because of their religion and their DNA, they're a little bit more. They present a more formidable challenge as a warrior, like their warrior class. Like they could mount an army, or they could mount an opposition other than protesting and looting. Like
And they could get stores. Yeah, they could actually operate a store for a minute.
They can exactly. They could a chain of like like a supply chain and you know what I mean. I think the sun just destroys the city by pure chaos and street crime and randomness and breaking down the trust of the society. And they do that too. Desert Demons do that too. They just do it in a different way.
Yeah, for me they're same but different. For where I am right now, of the UK, I would say Desert Demons are a bigger issue. The Suns can be controlled under gliders, if gliders actually like pull their fingers out their asses so they could be controlled. So it's different. Completely, I agree with that. It's completely different situations. But
I understand that
Desert
they're
Demons-
different, but in my opinion, that makes Desert Demons worse because they're able to organize.
Yeah, they're
That's
worse
why.
for me.
Yeah, I think Desert Demons are probably gliders would rather deal with blacks than Desert Demons. Desert Demons had the ability to take over the glider country. Suns will never take over a glider country to the point where you gliders couldn't get it back.
Exactly. All you need is for a glider, like one state, to be like, okay, any sun that starts shooting randomly, we will just start, like, what do I always say? SOS, shoot on sight. Once you start shooting them, you've controlled the problem.
Yeah, you gotta go force on force.
Exactly. Whereas Desert Demons will
Will blow
overrun you in a
themselves up.
completely different way.
Yeah, they don't respond to force like that. Yeah, they're gonna yeah, that's
They
true.
weren't even part of the glider system in the first place. Whereas suns have an element where you can control them under a glider system.
If you have
If you control them.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you gonna do it,
You use a whip.
Or a noose.
You know what? That made me think of and make sure y'all support the channel via PayPal, Cash App, or the Super Chat. So hold on, let me bring this up. This was where is it? Where is it? But yeah, make sure y'all hit the like button. Wow. Okay, here it is right here. Here it is right here. All right, let me switch to this. Trying to get up in the algorithm, man. We're trying to get into this algorithm.
Forbes, quote, 2025 recession risks just increased significantly. That's why thousands of people are.
Ivermectin was the boogeyman drug during COVID. Couldn't talk about it, couldn't get it anywhere, even though it was known to be an antiviral, antimicrobial, antiparasitic.
From the Negroes in Negroland, a compilation of reports on Negroes in the wild. And this is from Chapter 1, Cannibalism in Negroland. It is plain from all history that two abominable practices, the one the eating of men, the other of sacrificing them to the devil, prevailed all over Africa. The India trade, as we have seen in very early ages, first established the buying and selling of slaves. Since that time, the eating of men or sacrificing them has so greatly decreased on the eastern side of the peninsula that now we scarcely hear of an instance of either of these that can be properly vouched. On the western part, towards the Atlantic Ocean, where the sale of slaves began a considerable time later after the discovery of America and the West Indies, both of these horrid practices are general. The common food of the natives of Ansico is men's flesh, insomuch that their markets are provided with that as ours in Europe with beef or mutton. All prisoners of war, unless they can sell them alive with greater advantage, otherwise, as we said, they fatten them for a slaughter, and at last sell them to the butchers. To this savage barbarity they are so naturalized that some slaves, whether as weary of their lives or to show their love to their masters, will proffer themselves freely to be killed and eaten. But that which is most inhumane and beyond the ferocity of beasts is that the father scruples not to eat his son, nor the son his father, nor one brother the other, but take them by force, devouring their flesh, the blood yet reeking hot between their teeth. And that's from Ogilvy's Africa, page 518.
So, do you believe that? do you think that that's he's embellishing?
Nah, I believe it.
They sell human meat in the markets on the west coast of Africa.
Is he talking about today or years ago?
They do today.
No,
Well,
he's
yeah.
talking about he's talking about back in the day. This is not.
Pre-colonialism.
Yeah, this is that's from back in the 1500s.
Oh yeah, definitely, dude.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it'd be exactly the same as they were discovering South America. I'm sure there were sacrifices and
Yeah, I
cannibalism.
was about to say the same thing. Like, you know, all those primitive tribes did that. Like even the more advanced American groups like the Aztecs and the Mayans, they were like doing cannibalism, practicing cannibalism, I should say.
Yeah, but do you believe that, like, because he said it didn't happen on the East Coast, where like, you know, because of the Indian slave trade, the slave trade controlled it, but where the slave trade didn't start until the slave trade didn't really start until the Atlantic slave trade. Those people were doing it. So the people in the East were doing human sacrifices in cannibalism, but the slave trade stopped it. And because there was not no massive slave trade on the West Coast yet, it was prevalent.
Here's the thing. Like the slave trade actually saved a lot of Sun lives because those Sun men who weren't sold into slavery, they would have been killed. It was mostly women and children who were sold into slavery. So that's it. Like, you know, gliders buying those Sun men actually gave them a chance. Like they don't want to talk about that.
Well, yeah, because
They
they were
gave 'em
prisoner of
value.
war to other tribes.
What did you say, KB?
It gave them value. The gliders potentially buying them. Otherwise, they would have done who knows what to them.
Like if the Arabs would have bought them, they would have been castrated, and 60% of those castrated like ended up dying. Like, you know, like, and that's what I'm trying to say. It's like the Sun men, like sons today complaining about slavery, they would not be alive anywhere if it wasn't for the slave trade. That's what I'm trying to say. Like they don't think about that.
Okay, as soon as you get a good number of them listening to you on that point, then you let us know.
Oh, I know they're not.
Eyes be the disease never so contagious, yet they eat the flesh immediately as a festival dish. And that's from Ogilvy's Africa as
While it's
well.
hot.
Bello, the governor of Sakatu, said that whenever a person complained of sickness amongst the Yamyanus, even though only a slight headache, they are killed instantly for fear they should be lost by death, as they will not eat a person that has died by sickness. That the person falling sick is requested by some other family and repaid when they had a sick relation. That universally, when they went to war, the dead and wounded were always eaten, that the hearts were claimed by the head men, and that on asking them why they eat human flesh, they said it was better than any other, and that the heart and breasts of a woman were the best part of the body. And that's from Denham and Clapperton's Africa, Volume 4. Many of Ibrahim's party had been frequent witnesses to acts of cannibalism during their residence among the Makarikas. They described these cannibals as remarkably good people, but possessing a peculiar taste for dogs and human flesh. They accompanied the trading party in their razzias and invariably ate the bodies of the slain. The traders complained that they were bad associates, as they insisted upon killing and eating the children which the party wished to secure as slaves. Their custom was to catch a child by its ankles and to dash its head against the ground. Thus killed, they opened the abdomen, extracted the stomach and intestines, and tying the 2 ankles to the neck, they carried the body by slinging over the shoulder and thus returned to camp, where they divided it by quartering and boiling it in a large pot. One of the slave girls attempted to escape, and her proprietor immediately fired at her with his musket, and she fell wounded. The ball had stuck her in the side. The girl was remarkably fat, and from the wound a large lump of yellow fat exuded. No sooner had she fallen than the Macarikas rushed upon her in a crowd, and seizing the fat, they tore it from the wound in handfuls, the girl still being alive, while the crowd were quarrelling for the disgusting prize. Others killed her with a lance, and at once divided her, by cutting off the head and splitting the body with their lances, used as knives, cutting longitudinally between the legs along the spine up to the neck. And that's from Baker's Great Basin of the Nile, page 201. The butcher's shops of the Anzikas are filled with human flesh instead of that of oxen or of sheep, for they eat the enemies whom they take in battle. They fatten, slay, and devour their slaves also, unless they think they shall get a good price for them. There are indeed many cannibals, but none such as these, since the others only eat their enemies, but these eat their own blood relations. And that's from African Explorations by Eduardo Lopez, quoted by Huxley in...
And listen, man, you can read these whole books. These are excerpts from the books. You can read the whole books of these white men's travels. Like this is Hugh Clapperton. He was one of the ones that they mentioned a few of the excerpts ago. He wrote his memoirs. He lived from 1788 to 1827. So the stuff he was talking about was happening in the 1800s. So this wasn't very long ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's with the uncontacted tribes as well. In Brazil, they eat their enemies, don't they?
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, I guess like cannibalism is a base part of human nature. I mean, you have it in the 1972, was it the Argentinian plane crash, where they ended up eating their comrades.
Yeah, that's the most known.
Out of survival.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's a base
that's
thing.
The most famous.
They're like, okay, the sick, the elderly,
that's the most
little
famous.
girl, children, will eat them. It's very animalistic because they're base humanity.
Yeah, like they try to make it seem like those gliders was the only people on that plane that crashed on that mountain. They were the only people to eat people. Like I had no idea that Africans was eating each other in the 1800s. I had no idea. You know what I'm saying? Up until, you know what I'm saying, I started, studying this stuff. Like I thought cannibalism was ancient. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was like old, like back like 1,000 years ago or something like that. No, it was just like 100 years ago. If these people hadn't been forced to stop that, they forced these people to stop this stuff by colonialism. Colonialism, like they talk about colonialism being a bad thing, but colonialism is literally what forced these people to stop eating each other. Men like this, Hugh Clapperton.
It's really funny how they say that, it was the sons that civilized the gliders. They taught them how to bathe and all that other shit. I'm like,
big lies.
Yeah, and then when the sons are doing it, we colonized you and civilized you. That's a good thing, But see, the hypocrisy of the sons knows no bounds.
Shout out to Barry B. Barry B in the building, man. Barry B in the building. Salute to Barry B, man. Make sure y'all support the channel. You're not gonna get this nowhere else. I don't know where you're gonna get this, man. I don't even know if these other YouTubers even know this stuff exists, man. Honestly,
they probably don't. They be scared to death.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you said this to any of the other like conservative YouTuber types, you'd have them so shook and backpedaling they wouldn't know what to say.
They'd have to talk about God and shit like that because they couldn't handle this. Listen. This is a buzzkill though, because it blows you because you know, even if you're not like the we was kings type black person, you didn't think we was this. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's a buzzkill, man.
But again, and I think I've said it previously on this panel, that king in itself is a glider thing, because what Africans had were tribal leaders, which you can say is tantamount to a king. But even saying we was kings, like kings is literally a glider concept.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with this. I think it just is. You know what I mean, Chief?
Yeah,
So
which
you
I'm saying
wouldn't
too.
go to Africa to keep them from doing this?
No, I honestly think they should have just been left to their own devices.
Yeah, I don't know why we need to fix them.
Honestly, if we stop sending them aid, like their issues would correct themselves. To be honest with you, to an extent. What do you guys think?
Well, yeah, in the sense that it just is what it's gonna have to be. It's kind of like trying to stop a wolf from howling, right? At the moon. Why? The moon, the wolf howls at the moon.
Well, here's the thing too. Like, if you're gonna colonize this place and you're gonna be here, also, you can't have them doing that.
Yeah, you know what? You make a good point, Chief, in that the gliders can't help but want to go in there, right?
Well, they need to. They took the resources. They took the everything that like that
Yeah,
dirt, all the dirt, and
that's true.
all the oil and all the dirt. It
The
was
chips.
minerals. Yeah, and they took all that stuff in order, and they have to be there to do that. And they tried to they gave them their religion too. The religion stopped them from doing this too, like God, Jesus, and the Bible stopped
Well,
them from eating.
as well is
Same thing for Central America. Like Catholicism stopped all the fucking human sacrifices and all that other shit. It stopped the indigenous people from warring with each other. Like, you know.
And the biggest one is immunization, which grew all these populations on other continents.
Yeah, and they were doing population control with a lot of those human sacrifices. They couldn't feed the masses, so those human sacrifices served as a way to, like, you know, keep the population down. They couldn't produce food on a large scale. They couldn't. They didn't have
and
effective.
you're fighting your enemy as well. So
A lot of those societies were agricultural. Like they grew corn and wheat and all and grains and all that other stuff, but especially corn.
Yeah, but you gotta. I'm talking about to feed a nation. Like I'm not talking about like just a plot. Like you have to grow it. You have to grow enough food to feed a nation and to be able to sell and trade with other countries and things like that. Yeah, you need effective, efficient farming techniques, which they didn't have. So it is kind of important to kill a lot of people if you can, so that you don't have to, so that no people don't starve. People don't starve to death. You just kill them. But yeah, this is
But they were eating them too, though, right?
Yeah, they eat them too. Yeah, and then if you like flesh too, like think about it, if you grow up, if you've always eaten flesh, if it's no big deal, like you've always eaten it, you've always eaten human meat, it would be. I could see that. I could see that. Like, yeah, you just another. It's just another thing. It's like, you know, the other white meat.
Man's Place in Nature, page 55.
You destroy your enemies and you eat them.
On the occasion of the appointment of a chief to the supreme command, a bullock is sacrificed by the Samba Gulamboli, as also a white sheep and a white or fawn-coloured pigeon, together with various other victims. But the principal sacrifice is that of one slave from each of the nations under the dominion of the paramount chief, the heads of whom are carried in triumph and exhibited to the populace, accompanied by drums and other instruments. The bodies are added to those of the other animals and all cooked together and distributed as a savoury dish to the chief and the other nobles. And that's from Valdez's Africa, Volume 2, page 331. The next morning, we moved off for the Fan village, and now I had the opportunity to satisfy myself as to a matter I had cherished some doubt on before, namely the cannibal practices of these people. I was satisfied but too soon. As we entered the town, I perceived some bloody remains which looked to me to be human, but I passed on, still incredulous. Presently,
if you're struggling with any of these sluggish thyroid symptoms, like getting out of bed in the morning, thinning hair, brittle nails,
we passed a woman who solved all doubt. She bore with her a piece of the thigh of a human body, just as we should go to market and carry thence a roast or a steak. And that's from Du Chaillet's Equatorial Africa, page 103. Until today, I never could believe two stories, both well authenticated, but seeming quite impossible to anyone unacquainted with this people, which are told of them on the Gaboon. A party of fans who came down to the seashore once to see the sea actually stole a freshly buried body from the cemetery and cooked it and ate it among them. And another party took another body, conveyed it into the woods, cut it up and smoked the flesh, which they carried away with them. The circumstances made a great fuss among the Mpongwe, and even the missionaries
Some
heard of
still
it.
do that in America.
But I never credited the stories till now, though the facts were well authenticated by witnesses. In fact, the fans seem regular ghouls, only they practice their horrid custom unblushingly and in open day, and have no shame about it. These stories seem so incredible, and even the fact that these people actually buy and eat the corpses of their neighbours, resting as it does upon my statement alone, has excited so much evident disbelief among friends in the country to whom I have mentioned this custom, that I am very glad to be able to avail myself of the concurrent testimony of a friend, the Reverend Mr. Walker of the Gaboon Mission, who authorizes me to say that he vouches for the entire truth of the two stories above related. And that, again, is from Du Chaillet's Equatorial Africa, page 120.
Grave robbing for meat. I wouldn't put nothing past those people. If they eat human flesh and the person has died, they're going to eat them.
But digging him up from a grave? I mean, there's like maggots and all sorts of.
Well, it was fresh. It was a fresh grave.
Yeah, you're gonna smoke them too. They
don't
smoke
care.
it. They smoke the meat. And plus, think about it. Like, these aren't motherfuckers that got refrigerators and shit and microwaves. These motherfuckers, they just ain't used to like the accoutrements of fucking regular life, like we got it. Probably ain't nothing to them to eat some maggots and shit. There's some meat covered with maggots.
While I was talking to the king today, some fans brought in a dead body which they had bought in a neighbouring town and which was now to be divided. I could see that the man had died of some disease. I confess I could not bear to stay for the cutting up of the body, but retreated when all was ready. It made me sick all over. I remained till the infernal scene was about to begin, and then retreated. Afterward, I could hear them from my house, growing noisy over the division. This is a form of cannibalism, eating those who have died of sickness, of which I had never heard of in any people, so that I determined to inquire if it were indeed a general custom, or merely an exceptional freak. They spoke without embarrassment about the whole matter, and I was informed that they constantly buy the dead of the Oshiba tribe, who in return buy theirs. Again, that's from Du Chaillet's Equatorial Africa, page 120. After visiting the house assigned me, I was taken through the town, where I saw more dreadful signs of cannibalism in piles of human bones mixed up with offal thrown at the sides of several houses. Again, Tuchalu's Equatorial Africa, page 105.
Yeah, man, that's rough, man. Yikes. And this is just a couple hundred years ago, man. This is not long ago. This is not very long ago.
They're gonna eat each other. Imagine what they're gonna do.
Your
to
dog's routine
everyone
finally
else.
works for
Eat them. Shit. These white people that went down there and lived with these people.
and you can see it in their energy, comfort,
Crazy,
and
man.
happiness every day.
Do you know your dog's epigenetic age?
We've got trade wars, inflation, global chaos, and a skyrocketing national debt. It's no wonder that gold keeps hitting record highs.
The Negroes in Negroland, Chapter 4. Bloodthirstiness and barbarity of the Negroes in Negroland. There is apparently in this people a physical delight in cruelty to beast as well as to man. The sight of suffering seems to bring them an enjoyment without which the world is tame. In almost all the towns on the oil rivers, you see dead or dying animals fastened in some agonizing position. Poultry is most common, being the cheapest. They are tied by the legs, head downwards, or lashed around the body to a stake or a tree, where they remain till they fall in fragments. If a man be unwell, he hangs a live chicken around his throat, expecting that its pain will abstract from his sufferings. Goats are lashed head downwards tightly to wooden pillars and are allowed to die a lingering death. Even the harmless tortoise cannot escape impalement. Blood seems to be the favourite ornament for a man's face, as pattern painting with some dark colour like indigo is the proper decoration for a woman. At funerals, numbers of goats and poultry are sacrificed for the benefit of the deceased, and the corpse is sprinkled with the warm blood. The headless trunks are laid upon the body, and if the fowls flap their wings, which they will do for some seconds after decapitation, it is a good omen for the dead man. From Hutchinson's Western Africa, Volume 2, page 283. It is not so easy to offer any probable reason for the eagerness to share in cruelty which glows in a Negro's bosom. Its appalling character consists rather in the amount of bloodshed which gratifies the Negro than in the studious prolongation of pain. Superstition probably excused or justified to him some of his worst practices. Human sacrifices have been common everywhere. There was no scruple at cruelty when it was convenient. The mouths of the victims were gagged by knives run through their cheeks, and captives among the southern tribes were beaten with clubs in order to prevent resistance or to take away their strength, that they might be more easily hurried to the hill of death or authorized place of execution. And that was from Foots, Africa and the American Flag, page 52. It is hard to make them feel that the shedding of human blood is a great crime. They must be conscious that it is wrong, but having been accustomed to bloodshed from infancy, they are remarkably callous to the enormity of the crime of destroying human life. From Livingstone's Africa, page 217. The late Metiamvo sometimes indulged in the whim of running amuck in the town and beheading whomsoever he met, until he had quite a heap of human heads. Matiamvo explained this conduct by saying that his people were too many and he wanted to diminish them. He had absolute power of life and death. From Livingstone.
Matiamvo as a king, a chief, to go around and just hunt his own people because there was too many of them. This is rough, Jack. I mean, we were barbarians, man, late into human history. A lot of races, a lot of people were barbarians at different times in human history. We were barbarians up until very late in human history. Straight barbarians.
Africa, page 341. Nothing less than the entire subjugation or destruction of the vanquished could quench their insatiable thirst for power. Thus, when they conquered a town, the terrified inhabitants were driven in a mass to the outskirts, where the parents and all the married women were slaughtered on the spot. Such as have dared to be brave in the defence of their town, their wives and their children, are reserved for a still more terrible death. Dry grass, saturated with fat, is tied around their naked bodies and then set on fire. The youths and girls are loaded as beasts of burden with the spoils of the town, to be marched to the homes of their victors. If the town be in an isolated position, the helpless infants are left to perish, either with hunger or to be devoured by beasts of prey. On such an event, the lions scent the slain and leave their lair. The hyenas and jackals emerge from their lurking places in broad daylight and revel in the carnage, while a cloud of vultures may be seen descending on the living and the dead and holding a carnival on human flesh. From Moffat's Africa, page 365. We found the criminals seated on blocks of wood in a street near the king's residence, each accompanied by an executioner. One of the executioners was a lad who told me on the 17th of December that he had himself decapitated 80 persons. 2 knives were forced through the cheeks of each criminal, one on each side, which deprived them of speech. This is done, it is said, to prevent them from cursing the king. We did not stop to gaze on the horrid spectacle. Freeman's Africa, page 164.
Look at that, Ike. You hear that?
When any one of these chiefs dies,
I think they got us beat with the criminals, if you ask me. How they're handling it. This whole death row for 30 years isn't really working out.
No. These people live brutal lives, man, and they saw a lot of stuff. Imagine how desensitized these people are to murder if you eat people. If you eat people, and you see, you can't be sensitive to.
No, it's like a fish in water. A fish is in water, you know. But for these gliders, though, to witness this, it must have been like a mind fuck.
Oh yeah. And to live around these people and to know that, like, you could be on the menu any day.
the news of his death is not made known for 1 or 2 months
subconsciously.
Afterwards. And if any person who has learned the fact of his death discloses the secret, he is immediately decapitated and his family and relatives sold into captivity. If there be no purchasers for them, they are all conducted to the banks of the river and there decapitated by the Samba Gulumbali, or common executioner. The bodies are then thrown into the river and the heads are piled up at the entrance to the capital as a warning to all disclosers of state secrets. Valdez's Africa, Volume 2, page 331. The head and legs of the ox were then drawn together, and it fell bellowing to the ground. The animal was now secured firmly and prevented from rising. The chief butcher then, with a large knife, cut open about a foot of the skin of the belly, and lying on the ground amidst the groans of agony and helpless struggles of the unfortunate brute, he thrust his right arm up to the shoulder into the ox, gave a twist and a pull at the heart, ruptured one of the large arteries, and drew away the omentum, which was thrown on a fire, cooked and eaten before the convulsions of the victim had ceased. Alexander's Africa.
90% of people who feel tingling or numbness in their hands and feet are ignoring the warning signs of dying nerves.
Volume 2, page 132. The guide attached to the expedition on return from Muiji had loitered behind for some days because his slave girl was too footsore to walk. When tired of waiting, he cut off her head for fear lest she should become gratis another man's property. Tembandumba, the Amazonian and cannibal queen of the Congo, commanded that all male children, all twins, and all infants whose upper teeth appeared before their lower ones should be killed by their own mothers. From their bodies an ointment would be made in the way which she would show. The female children should be reared and instructed in war, and male prisoners before being killed and eaten should be used for purposes of procreation, so that there might be no future lack of female warriors.
Yo, that is crazy. Think about how fucking rough that society was. The mother gotta kill the child if the top teeth come in before the bottom teeth. And the all the male child's gotta get killed. I think that was that female only tribe where they the Amazonians. A female tribe, warrior tribe.
The female children should be reared and instructed in war, and male prisoners before being killed and eaten should be used for purposes of procreation, so that there might be no future lack of female warriors. Having concluded her harangue with the publication of other laws of minor importance, this young woman seized her child, which was feeding at her breast, flung him into a mortar, and pounded him to a pulp. She flung this into a large earthen pot, added roots, leaves, and oils, and made the whole into an ointment, with which she then rubbed herself before them all, telling them that this would render her invulnerable, and that now she could subdue the universe. Immediately her subjects, seized with a savage enthusiasm, massacred all their male children, and immense quantities of this human ointment were made. It is clear enough that Tembandumba wished to found an empire of Amazons, such as we read of as existing among the Scythians in the forests of South America and in Central Africa. She not only enjoined the massacre of male children, she forbade the eating of woman's flesh. But she had to conquer an instinct in order to carry out her views. She fought against nature, and in time she was subdued. That was from Reed's Savage Africa, page 292. On our march to the marketplace, we passed along parts of the walls of the palace, which covers an immense space. The walls, as well as houses, are made of red sandy clay, and on top of the walls, at intervals of 30 feet, human skulls were placed along their whole extent. On approaching nearer the marketplace, we beheld on an elevated pole a man fixed in an upright position, with a basket on his head, apparently holding it with both hands. A little further on, we saw two more men, now in a state of decomposition, hung by the feet from a thick pole, placed horizontally on two upright poles about 20 feet high. Passing close to them, the smell was intolerable. The arms hung extended downwards, and at a little distance a stranger would, from their shriveled and contracted condition, suppose them to be large sheep or goats. The skin from exposure had turned nearly to the colour of that of a white man. I found upon inquiry that the bodies had been in this position about 2.5 moons. All reckoning here is by the moon. The vulture was industriously endeavouring to satisfy his appetite, but the heat of the sun had dried the skin so as to render it impenetrable to his efforts. On the opposite side of the market were two more human bodies in the same position as those I have just mentioned, with the exception that the bodies had been mutilated. Duncan's Africa, Volume 1, page 319. I have already spoken of the system of intermarriages, by which a chief gains in power and friends, but there are other means of securing allies. For instance, two tribes are anxious for a fight, but one needs more force. This weakling sends one of its men secretly to kill a man or woman of some village living near, but having no share in the quarrel. The consequence is not, as would seem most reasonable, that this last village take its revenge on the murderer, but strangely enough, that the murderer's people give them to understand that this is done because another tribe has insulted them, whereupon, according to African custom, the two villages join and together march upon the enemy. In effect, to gain a village to a certain side in a quarrel, that side murders one of its men or women with the purpose of retaliation on somebody else. Du Chaillet's Equatorial Africa, page 74. Salih showed extreme folly in remaining behind, and Kamlazi, suspicious of his complicity, immediately ordered him to be seized and cut to pieces. He was accordingly tied to a stake and tortured by having his limbs cut off piecemeal, the hands being first severed at the wrists and the arms at the elbow joints. Baker's Great Basin of the Nile, page 406. A number of old women had been taken in the general slave hunt. These could not walk sufficiently fast to keep up with their victors during the return march, and they had all accordingly been killed on the road as being cumbersome. In every case, they were killed by being beaten on the back of the neck with a club. Amara called his soothsayer and required him to name a propitious moment for the sally. The oracle retired to his den and, after suitable incantations, declared that the effort should be made as soon as the hands of Amara were stained in the blood of his own son. It is said that the prophet intended the victim to be a youthful son of Amara who had joined his mother's family and was then distant, but the impatient and superstitious savage, seeing a child of his own, 2 years old, at hand when the oracle announced the decree, snatched the infant from his mother's arms, threw it into a rice mortar, and with a pestle mashed it to death. The sacrifice over, a sortie was ordered. The infuriate and starving savages, roused by the oracle and inflamed by the bloody scene, rushed forth tumultuously. Amara, armed with the pestle still warm and reeking with his infant's blood, was foremost in the onset. The besiegers gave way and fled. The town was reprovisioned, the fortifications of the enemy demolished, and the soothsayer rewarded with a slave for his barbarous prediction. At another time, Amara was on the point of attacking a strongly fortified town when
Yo, human life meant nothing. And it might be in our DNA, man. Human life meant nothing.
If this doesn't prove that it's not DNA, I don't know what does. You know, I mean,
Yeah, but you know what, man? I always think of Fabian. Like he put it very well that one time when he talked about how like population control, right? As far
Yeah.
as some people and how they react to death in Blackistan. You know what I mean? Do you remember when Fabian explained that as far as DNA?
Mm-hmm.
That I always think of that because he put it very simple, and it just made
Mm-hmm.
sense. It seems that way anyway. The way like they just respond to like death and carnage, you know?
Yeah, without a doubt. It's just it doesn't mean nothing to us, man. It doesn't the it it shouldn't. I mean, if we're eating people, like if we eat people, it should mean nothing like that. We should, because if it meant something and you're eating people, that's putting you in turmoil. You probably wouldn't eat people if you had respect for human life. So now we are in a land where eating people is illegal, but we still have that gene within our psyche. You know what I mean? we still are murderers, though. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we still have a lust for human blood.
Even how like they react to their loved ones that passed, like they love them in their own way, but it
Hmm.
also at times seems like very like indifferent, and it
Yeah.
might it's just DNA, man. It, I don't know how else to explain it, you know.
Hmm.
Like I was
Yeah.
arguing with some dude recently, and I think nature creates the nurture. You know, it's both for sure, but the nature is what dictates how they're brought up, right?
Hmm.
Nature, everything stems from nature, and like how we interacted with our environment and what traits we developed and all that other stuff. So yeah, you're right, Wicked. But yeah, and going off of that too, like how they say, like how like they're kind of indifferent when some of their loved ones die. But look at somehow they treat their loved ones, they use their loved ones for their own self-interest. Like when they're killed by a cop or when they're killed by a glider or whatever, they just use they use their loved ones to get money out of the situation. They exploit the deaths of their loved ones. Feel what I mean? You feel me?
Hmm.
Feel me, Wicked?
Yeah, yeah. My bad. I'm just busy hearing KB crying in the back chat.
What are you doing about?
No, we've been going at it because I've
Yeah,
been
I'm not mad, Wicked.
Oh, okay.
I'm laughing over here.
we've been going at it about religion.
Yeah, I don't want to
So
talk about that because I don't want the chat to start crying with you.
Mm.
who crying with me
With KB.
or with KB? Basically,
It's a good
what I
it's a good debate,
yeah.
good
So what
discussion, I
I
guess.
was saying is Fisherman brought up
It's
Christianity.
going to, if we go down this road, this is going to
Yeah.
completely derail
Yeah,
everything.
it's gonna derail. There's no point in talking about it. And then we know the chat's gonna
Another
start getting
another
upset.
another panel then another panel.
Yeah. And Ike doesn't even like talking about religion anyway.
Mm. Mm.
We like
I
talking
feel like
about
my point
It's
was
a
so
very
simple
personal
though.
thing.
we like talking about ancient sun religion, you know? The cannibalistic type.
So I can't say my point without a rebuttal then. Look, I will say it really quickly. I will just say it really. So what I was saying is that my issue with gliders is that right now they're fractured people because Christianity is what they have chosen, whether it's been infiltrated or not. Christianity is what they chose as their core foundation for themselves and their society. So my issue is that as gliders, they do not promote that. They are allowing everyone else, Muslims, Jews, everyone else, to infiltrate their own lands and promote their own religions. And they can't even go to church for 1 hour on a Sunday. And by not having a united front, that other religions and other people can see that they're fractured. Because it's like, oh no, gliders are atheist, they're Buddhist, they're other religions, they're converts, they're barely Christians. So it shows that gliders aren't unified. And I'm saying that whether or not you believe, if Christianity is your core foundation for your ethnic group, you need to promote that regardless of whether you truly believe it or not. You need to show a united front to everyone else.
But
And what
but
I said to
Ike,
Fisherman is that if it's not Christianity that you're choosing as united front and you're going to go to, let's say, Norse mythology, then every glider now needs to start praying to Odin.
but
I feel
Ike,
like I said it. I feel like it was a very simple thing I said.
the gliders, when were the gliders ever united? They've always killed each other. Always. When have they
They
not killed each other?
they always killed, but I mean, there've been so
Each
many
other.
periods in history where even in the UK, now, I mean, hardly with the Christianity's falling, but every millennial kind of grew up in the church. They were going to church. Easter and Christmas was a major thing
But
in
they were
the
still
Glide
killing each
country.
other. Like in the world scale, like the UK, they were fighting the Germans. right? Um, the Polish, the Ukrainians are fighting the Russians right now, and I mean like way back when they were like barbarians, they were killing each other.
Yes,
When were
but
they
what
ever
I'm saying
united?
is they're Orthodox and they're Christian, they're all practicing. Right now, gliders are not, they're atheist and they're not practicing. And they're allowing united Muslims to come into their lands and anything. Oh no, we're Muslim, we must have this, we must have this, we must have this. They're allowing Jews to come in. Oh, Sabbath, we must have this, we must have this. And gliders are just like, oh, well, I don't believe in anything. It's fine. Like, you guys can do what you want to do. So they're allowing their own society, which
I mean, you
has the
could very easily say though that those religions are dog shit without being a Christian.
No, you can say, but my point is, as a group, gliders, you guys are not united right now. Every you will have Muslims.
Well, I mean,
who
yeah,
are-
that's fine, but I don't see how being united as a Christian nation or whatever helps, because it doesn't.
It's not about whether it helps. It's about that is what
It
you
did
have
when
Then what is the point? If it doesn't
Muslims
help, then what's the
Europe.
point of doing it?
because you're allowing other religions, whether they're united or not, to come into your
But if it
lands.
doesn't help, then what's the point of doing it?
So I'm saying that if you wanted, if it's something else you're choosing, if it's Norse mythology, then you need to stick with that. You made your point of
I mean, yeah, you need to choose something that helps, which is not
exactly.
Christianity.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is, whatever it is, you need to choose it quickly because you are being.
Okay, so stop bringing up Christianity then.
No, I'm bringing it up because everything in America, in God we trust, in the UK, king and country, and God, everything is surrounded by that. That is what your existing society is based on. Christian foundation.
I don't think so.
Well, you don't have to think so, but it's literally, I mean, to have a president, you have to swear on a Bible, so.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a Christian nation.
No problem. Anyway, that was my point, Ak. I was just saying that gliders need to unite a bit more. Like choose what you.
Yeah, so but just say that part. Don't say the like, why aren't you guys going to church for an hour every Sunday? Because that doesn't do anything.
It's not about whether.
Like what? Explain to me which church is speaking from the pulpit about exporting Muslims.
You can easily tailor. I'm a Christian. What do I say all the time? Shoot on sight. You can literally take. The Protestants had a Reformation. Everyone else hasn't. You can literally.
Okay, well then you're going against the Book of Luke. Then
you can literally tailor what you want for your thing.
And then you're just saying it's not even a religion anymore. You're just slapping a label of Christianity onto whatever you want to.
No, I'm not. I'm saying
yes, because you're going against the Gospel of Luke if you're going to sit there and say we have to shoot Muslims.
I'm saying if you have Muslims in your country, you are watching them go to mosque, pray 5 times a day. As Christians, whether you believe it or not, to show a united front, going to church for 1 hour on a Sunday, even if you want to sit there and meditate, has more of a show of force to infiltrate.
No, it doesn't. It literally means nothing. If they if all the gliders went and stood in Dunkin' Donuts for an hour on the Sunday, it would have the same effect.
Okay, well, it was a nice glider society whilst it existed.
Let's just remember which bloodline talking right now is the one that's built something and which one hasn't. Like who actually solves problems.
Who's disagreeing with you? I've never been on the panel and been like, oh, gliders don't. I'm literally saying because I'm seeing gliders.
And I'm telling you right now, as a glider man, Christianity is not solving this problem.
No problem. Then choose the solution, and every glider needs to be following the solution according to you. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, we're good. We got the religion part out.
Yeah,
Can
we got
go?
it out. So that was what we were all talking about in the back chat, like. And he's gone. He wasn't even listening.
Man, sleep.
Somebody
we put him to sleep.
Somebody said in the chat that I goes to sleep to Negroes and Negro Land. That's hilarious.
I'm just listening. I'm letting I'm letting y'all talk.
He's monitoring.
Yeah, Ike is moderating the debate.
Yeah, you know.
Ike, somebody in the chat, Ike, said that that you go to sleep to Negroes and Negro Land. Is that true?
Nah. We usually go to sleep.
Story times.
wild animals and shit like the jungle and shit, like lions and hyenas and shit like that.
Right, or the jaguar.
Yeah, I go to that type of stuff. I'm just listening, man. You know, I'm listening to y'all,
Yeah.
man.
Yo, did you cover the Chicago CTA one yet?
Yeah, Emily Carlson. Yeah,
Man, what do you think about that one?
I think
17 whole seconds.
it's yeah. It wasn't. They didn't give a lot of
Nothing. They didn't get much. She was a mother. She had kids. But
Yeah,
again, it brings me back to my point I made to you, where why did the one in Frisco or whatever the fuck, what was special about that one? I'm confused.
it just at the right time. It was two track stars. It was a wealthy community. It was the first initial uh um initially it was just big for because the white kid was so accomplished in his young life.
Look,
And then
I put a link in the back chat. Look at this picture. This picture is heartbreaking.
that's
It's,
it.
it's about it's about this same shit here, but I just don't understand why there's not like no more like not more outreach. There should be more outreach, but there's like nothing at all.
So I mean, like, look at what Austin Metcalf's dad did, right? What belief system was he going off of when he went around doing his bullshit?
Christianity. Is that fair to say, KB? It was Christianity.
I mean, did
Why
he
is
say he
why
was
is he
Christian?
going around preaching all this forgiveness and nobody offend anybody? We're all one under God. Blah blah blah.
I don't know if I don't know if
He's
I
a
cut.
crap
I think I cut
provider.
out. I think I cut out. I was saying from when we first did that story, I said that he was too quick to say, "Oh, I forgive," and I said mixed in with that was DEI and all black people and some people, and we must
Nah,
forgive. And
his
I'm a white man.
foundational principle is Christianity.
Yes, and I said he was
That is
weak.
where he's getting that bullshit from.
You literally act like you can't have a foundational principle and then tailor.
No, you can't. You
You
can have foundational
yeah,
principles,
but
but they can't be what Christianity promotes
you
because you
tailor
end up with
anything
people
to
like Austin Metcalf's dad. That's
yes, and
literally what you're gonna get.
I'm saying you tailor it. You act like you can't tailor anything. My point is that
So you're not advocating
unfortunately
for Christianity. You're just advocating for something that says that gliders should stand up. But you're throwing this Christian label on there, I guess, because churches already exist.
no, I'm throwing the Christian label is
Because you're saying
as
like this. You're saying this Taylor word, which means that the religion can be melded and bended, right? Which means that it's made by man and it's not actually real.
Christianity in the Bible, oh, sacrifice your child, sacrifice this. You're not going to sacrifice your child in 2025, are you? My point is Christianity. Obviously, there's the issue with me saying the label of Christianity, but those core concepts is what the Glider Nation has built itself on. If it is not going to be Christianity, because right now your nations are divided by yourselves. That's your choice. You've divided yourself. You haven't remained unified. So I'm saying if it is not going to be Christianity, you need to quickly, because you're being overrun, you need to quickly choose what is the next thing. And I keep using Norse mythology as my example. If it's going to be Norse mythology, every glider from tomorrow needs to be praying to Odin and Thor. I'm saying like you need to have whatever you're choosing.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's fine. Just don't promote the Christianity stuff. Like I would much rather
what is the
prefer
base?
Norse mythology because at least those gods are warlike.
Exactly. So if it's Norse mythology, I'm saying that every glider from today, Tuesday, the 29th of April, 2025, needs to be praying to Odin. And you need to be united in that thought process. Because right now you are allowing basically your
I
enemies
mean, sure, fine, I get it.
yeah,
Like
so you're allowing your
I know, but
enemies
you're
onto
beating
your
a dead
land.
horse at this point.
Well, the horse is being beaten because in 2025, gliders are still allowing basically their enemies onto their lands, and they're being weak about it, and they're not
And
unified.
a lot of that is due to Christian groups that are pro-refugee. There's no other group that works harder to get refugees resources outside of the government, which you could partially link the Christianity aspect to the government because the government gives these Christian groups all this money. There's no other group that's promoting more refugees than Christian groups.
Yes, and I'm saying that is also a problem. And then you can say, oh, as Christians, you know what? We're going to actually look in our own house first, and we're not going to promote refugees. And that is what I mean by tailoring.
I know, but the problem though is that you are contradicting the tenets of the Bible. You're contradicting the book of Luke. That's the problem. You can't have a foundational belief system that advocates one thing and then in another breath advocate for self-preservation.
I
the two things are mutually exclusive. You can't have self-preservation and Christianity.
I think you can, but that's just me.
Are you?
But anyway,
are you talking
anyway,
about
we
the
both. I think
Needy
everyone in
quote?
the chat and we both get the point I'm making. That gliders, you need to choose whatever is your foundational core going forward, and you need to unite behind it because you've basically allowed your enemies onto your lands, and you're not united by anything right now, as a nation, and that is why you're basically doomed at present time.
Hey, Ag, do you see this baby in the picture though? Do you see this baby? Yo, Ag. Yo, can y'all hear me?
Great, you guys put him.
Yeah, I can hear you. He's probably
hear you,
gone.
Wicked.
Okay, but I mean, Fish, like, what? I mean, talk to me, Fish. What is this?
This
Why?
is these are two different races that are forced to live together, and one race has to suffer the ill will of the other race because of the systems that are currently in place that denounce any effort to actually remedy this problem.
Yeah, in a nutshell. I feel like I asked ChatGPT that question. That was it in a nutshell, man.
Mhm.
Um,
See, like if you had gliders like me running the show, this all would look very different because there would be no Christianity in my way and there would be no Jewish crew in my way.
Yeah,
right,
so your foundation would be built on nationalism and the label is white. You know, everyone should
Wait,
believe.
no, it's racial realism.
Yes, racial realism. That's what I'm saying. So then every glider, if you're choosing racial realism, from today, every glider should be believing in that. That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying because you're not, and you're all fractured right now, you're being overrun, and like glider nations will end.
now, Fish. Now, I think this dude here should be punished immediately to the extreme, right? But I also think the same about like a glider or an umbrito, right?
Yeah, I
What do you
don't have
think
a
about that?
problem with that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
yeah. Basically, that's how I feel. But though, obviously, the only thing is that it's these guys that are like the overwhelm. They're overrepresented, you know.
Yeah, you're just not going to see other groups behaving in this way to this extent ever. And everyone has a tolerance level for this kind of stuff, you know? Like if you see an
Yeah,
umbrito do this every once in a while, it's really not, going to move the needle for anybody. Or if you see like a Chinaman do this like once a year, whatever,
yeah,
this is every fucking day to the point where
yeah.
civil society
Every
can't
day.
exist.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the public transportation should be. It should be pleasant. It should be normal, but it's not. You know, like you see videos of like transportation in Japan, right? And it just looks. I wish it looked here. You know, like I saw that in Japan, Fish. The seats in the trains had like cloth all over. They looked fancy, but you can't have that in Chicago because if you were to have those cloth-like seats, Fish, they would be riddled with bed bugs at best because
Yeah,
of
or
these people.
burnt, or shit's spilled on them, or just
Understand?
ripped up, stabbed. Yeah, I
Dope
mean, in
run.
Japan they have whole stores where nobody works in them,
I
and you
know.
can just walk in there and buy something and walk out.
Yeah. Like in the airports here, the airports in America now, you could just walk out. Have you seen that? You just
No,
grab
I've
whatever you
never
need.
seen that.
Yeah, you walk in and then you grab whatever you need and you just walk out. You don't have to interact with anybody. But they're manned. They're still manned because of you know who. But
Yeah. See, that's the
but in,
thing in Japan. There's nobody there at all.
I
Period.
saw that. I've seen that. In Japan, they could just like grab whatever and it's open 24 hours from what I understand. I've seen videos of girls in Japan walking around like all at night alone. That can't happen here, dude. He killed this glider queen at 1 p.m. Fish.
Can you imagine if they dumped like 10 million suns in Japan? What it would look like?
I would watch that movie, dude. That
It
movie
would
would be
literally like for the first, 6 months or a year, maybe a few years, probably. It would literally look like what's that one movie where there's no laws at night or whatever?
The Purge.
The Purge. It would literally be the Purge.
Yeah, yeah. It would be terrifying. But I would watch that movie though. Like if you just dump a bunch of them into like Japan.
Yeah, if you could
th-
just
th-
tap into like CCTV live stream of
yeah,
Japan at any point in the
It's gonna
day.
look like Train to Busan, bro. Like
it's gonna be bad. But there's no society that I could think of anyway. Like the same thing would have. Well, the Russians will probably nip it in the bud, right? Like if you drop off a bunch of these dudes, the Russians aren't having it, are they?
nah, Russia ain't gonna play that.
Or
Mm,
would
Russia
they?
ain't
They
playing
I
that.
might.
mean, I don't know.
Russia ain't
Like
playing that, bro.
sometimes Putin says some pretty woke shit.
Like
He
like
might
And
like
say some. He might say
there
some
are
woke shit, but you gotta
programs
look
where
at
they bring
his.
Africans in to go to university.
And that's fine, but nah, Putin, nah, bro. Yeah, that
yo
ain't happening in Russia,
But
bro.
he's not bringing
yo.
them in mass, or he's not like
No,
settling
but
in
No, it
like.
hasn't got there yet.
we're not saying yo Ike. Can you hear me? Yo Ike.
He's gone.
I had
No,
an
he moved right now.
my
He
ex
moved right now.
girlfriend.
He right
My ex
there now.
girlfriend went over there.
I
She
was
studied abroad in Russia, and she said they kind of racist over there. Real talk.
Eastern Europeans are very racist, bro.
I
well,
was muted. What's up?
But they're
yo
not. They're
Ike.
not racist. They're just.
Well,
They're just themselves.
everything
I
is
mean,
racist,
Well,
man.
yeah. I
if
remember.
yourself is a racist, then yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but
Everything is
what's
They're
racist.
race
racism?
realists. Like they
I
understand that
don't
they
believe
don't.
in it. If I go to Russia as someone of African ancestry, why would I expect Africans to be there? Why should they say anything to me that
You
isn't like
you would be
Russian
fine
or
because you're a
anything?
female. They don't like black dudes really.
I wonder why. Why do you think they don't like him, man? Because of the hair texture?
Nah, bro.
Yeah,
You know how we
yeah.
it ain't. Hey,
I
you
said,
know how I do. You know I do, bro.
yeah,
If it
yeah,
ain't
I
if it ain't
know.
snowing, I
Yeah,
ain't going. So
yeah. Yo, I got in the back chat. I put a link, bro. Have you covered that story with the white fireman and the sister?
Yeah, we covered that earlier in the show. Yep.
I mean, again, my point being, I fuck that Frisco story. Like, why? Like, I said it to you when it came out. I said to you, they're gonna keep killing gliders. They're gonna keep doing,
Well,
and
well, they've always been.
they always been, yeah.
All it would be is more people noticing it because they kill if sons kill the same 50 or 60 gliders they kill a week, and next month gliders start um, chronicling it. They were like, damn, there's an uptick in sons killing gliders. No, it's not. It's just the
But
same
they're
shit.
not. But they're not. They're not doing that
You
though.
know what I'm saying? If they did,
Yeah, but
then they
they're not
started
though.
those things.
No,
Yeah,
I feel you, but my only issue is, and I'm not trying to take away from that kid's death at all. All I'm saying is, not like it's been going on, it's gonna keep going on, right? And while it goes on, we gotta hear sons say the nonsense that they say. You know,
yeah.
I mean, it's like when
like
Brown Sugar got on here, she was like, well, 400 years.
what do you mean?
When she got on here earlier and Ak was doing the stabbing story of the firefighter, she said, well, 400 years.
she basically said that because I guess black people were killed for 400 years during slavery.
Yeah, I mean, so she's
That
saying it's
justifies.
okay. Yeah, it's
She must have been
fine.
And if
trolling.
you use logic like that, like we're never going to get anywhere socially. I
She
mean,
must
Yeah,
have
you
been
can't
not
trolling,
gonna
man.
you can't
happen.
fix anything like that.
She had to have been trolling, man. I guarantee she was
I
trolling.
don't think so.
Yeah.
No,
Right?
she actually believes, like, you can
Trying to make
press her and she quickly folds and becomes a mammy.
What do you think, Ike?
Wow. I
the
don't
community
know.
now left trying to make sense of this tragedy, and
honor Graham Hoffman. Fox 4's Kelly Peltier is at Fire Station 42, where Hoffman had served with that part of our team coverage.
Fire officials tell me Hoffman was committed to his job and serving the community. And that's exactly what he was doing Sunday morning when he was attacked.
You just don't come to work thinking you're going to get stabbed or shot as a firefighter, paramedic, firefighter, EMT.
According to KCFD Battalion Chief Michael Hopkins, there was no indication that Bossel would be a threat when officers released her. But when Hoffman was offering routine medical care, his partner, who was driving, suddenly heard a struggle in the back and cries for help.
It's devastating for our department. We don't want to lose anybody, particularly in a manner like this. As firefighters, we understand the risks of burning buildings and car wrecks and things like that. We don't expect to lose our members to an act of violence, not something like this.
A responding KCPD officer was injured with non-life-threatening injuries while trying to take Bossel into custody. Hoffman was taken to North Kansas City Hospital, where he later died in the ICU. We just kept hearing over and over, how compassionate he was, how much he loved the fire service and doing the job that he was doing. He was a very vibrant person by all accounts, loved to travel, loved outdoor stuff. Was a big Chiefs fan, just a typical person who wanted to serve his community. The fire department says they're working with Hoffman's family on funeral arrangements and providing resources for Hoffman's partner during this time. In Kansas City, Kelly Peltier, Fox.
His partner, was he gay? His partner.
Nah, man. His
They're talking about on the truck.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Bro, pause.
A number of fundraising campaigns are taking shape, and they're meant to provide relief to firefighters.
Let's see if he gets 600,000 like that Karmelo asked me for killing.
A number of fundraising campaigns are taking shape, and they're meant to provide relief to firefighters and Hoffman's family. Fox 4's Sean McDowell talks with the leaders of the nonprofits who say generosity is welcome in times of need.
Expenses for family members related to fallen first responders tend to go sky high, partly related to the loss of income that they'll incur. Metro nonprofit Answering the Call has been in business for the past 10 years. Retired Lee Summit police officer Ronnie Dumet has helped raise $1.4 million over that period of time for first responder families in need, much the way those who love Graham Hoffman may soon incur. Dumet says he's ready to help if Kansas City Fire asks.
You've lost someone who's special, right? And I put our first responders on a pedestal. I do. It's ingrained in their bodies to go out and serve and protect.
Tragedies like this one reach across state lines. Even New York City's fire department tweeted their support for their comrades in Kansas City on Monday. The Yard Foundation, a Chicago-based fundraising nonprofit, also focuses on first responders. Aaron Krupa, whose family serves the public, says there are no strangers when heartache strikes.
When that bell rings, there's that commonality across all of them that it's time to jump into action, and that's when we come through for each other. And they just know that experience.
Law enforcement officials often advise the public about fake fundraising campaigns when tragedies like this occur in our community. If you're ever unsure of the validity of a fundraiser, reach out and contact the Kansas City Fire Department to ask if it's a fundraiser that they're approved of. Sean McDowell, Fox 4, working for you.
I put a link in the bag, right? Did you cover the firefighter in Chicago that was killed?
I wish we did not have to come together today. You will be hearing in a moment from Fire Chief Ross Grundison, our interim city manager, Kamiko Gilmore. I will come back for questions in just a moment. Today, we are recognizing a tragedy in Kansas City. A line of duty death is always something that is heartbreaking. And
that's the bear. God damn.
Did you hear what I said, Chief? You covered the Chicago firefighter that was killed?
A Chicago firefighter was killed too?
Yeah, I put it in the back chat. You gotta see this shit. Yeah, guess who killed him?
This Philly.
Guess who killed him?
What?
Yeah. But first, we're following breaking news in Northeast Philadelphia. Police fatally shooting one person following a carjacking and a chase. A busy scene on the ground there. This is the 10 o'clock news. I'm Sheba Russell.
I'm Jason Martinez. We just got an update moments ago from the scene along Roosevelt Boulevard. Let's get right to our Shawnette Wilson. And Shawnette, what can you tell us?
So here's what we know right now. There is a 32-year-old man in the hospital, possibly with a gunshot wound to his stomach, in critical condition. I'm told he is at Temple. The suspect in all of this has been shot by police. The commissioner told us just moments ago that that suspect pronounced dead at Einstein Hospital. I'll step out of the way here so you can take a look at what's left of the scene here on the boulevard. A massive, expansive scene happening here, which the commissioner did tell us moments ago. It will be quite some time before they sort through everything here. The shot you're looking at right now, you can see the crime scene unit, and just beyond that is where the car that the suspect, that police say carjacked, pulled up on that embankment and got out, and that is where police again say that he was shot by officers. But let's walk you back to the beginning as we take a look at some Skyfox video of this entire scene. Police telling us that this started at 7-Eleven at G and Hunting Park tonight. 2 people were at that business. The suspect tries to carjack a person, fires a shot at the person who they believe owns the car. They're still trying to sort that out, but again, they do think that he owns the car. So the suspect shoots that person, takes off in the car through several districts, going through the 24th, the 25th, and 35th districts. At 700 East Shelton, police find a cartridge there, but they believe the suspect had fired at officers who were pursuing him and then kept going. On the 4600 block of the boulevard, the suspect, as I just mentioned, drives up onto the embankment and gets out. Commissioner Bethel telling us that 7 officers shoot the suspect. One of those officers from the 15th district, another from the 25th, and the other 5 officers who fired weapons are with Highway Patrol. That suspect was shot several times, again, pronounced dead at Einstein. Again, the condition of the person who was carjacked initially.
That's a different one. That's Philly. You said you put something in the back chat?
Yeah. So take a walk. Guess who killed this fireman?
Hold on.
Give me demographics of the fireman and then the demographics of the offender. Oh, it's
It's
up
the
there. My
last
bad.
one
Yeah, the last one, the YouTube one.
in wokeness. Oh, hold
It's
on. The YouTube one.
yeah, like if you go all the way to the bottom, me and Fish were talking, and it's like the first link. I'll put it back. Like, I just wrote it in there again.
Okay. All right. Jeez. This
Take
is
a wild guess.
insane. Wow. This is insane. This is
Yeah,
absolutely
I mean,
insane.
it never ends, right? And it's never gonna end.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
We begin here at 6 with murder charges filed in the death of veteran fire captain David Meyer. Police say 44-year-old Charles Green intentionally started the fire that led to Meyer's death on Wednesday. Green appeared in court earlier today. CBS News Chicago investigator Tara Molina took a closer look at his background and brings us more from the courthouse.
Charles Green will face a judge for the very first time here tomorrow morning. Right now, he's looking at 3 different felony charges. I brought those charges and his background to our legal analyst. Bunting hanging over 54-year-old Chicago fire captain David Meyer's base, engine 96, ladder 29. The more than 28-year CFD veteran, leaving behind a wife and 4 children. You're looking at the scene of the deadly fire Wednesday. Firefighters first called out just after 4 in the morning. It was out when part of the garage collapsed, critically injuring 54-year-old captain David Meyer. He later died at Strozier Hospital. The Office of Fire Investigations said the fire was started by someone intentionally igniting the contents of a trash bin. Police say that man is 44-year-old Charles Green. Police say he was in custody within hours of the fire. CBS News Chicago sources say police have video of Green with a glowing object in his hand while he was by the garage. And a short time later, the camera shows smoke and fire coming from the alley. Green is now officially charged with 2 felony murder counts and an arson count. They're charges that come as no surprise to CBS News Chicago legal analyst Irv Miller.
This is the appropriate charge for what happened, assuming they can prove what they're saying happened.
The murder charges, both hinging on the strong probability of death associated with starting the fire, according to Miller.
If you take a gun and somebody's 5 feet away from you and you shoot at his head, you're intending to kill him. However, if you take a gun, you shoot over your shoulder and just start shooting, Well, that could create a strong probability of death to somebody.
Green has a laundry list of prior offenses, more than 35 in Cook County, mostly for drug possession and theft. His most recent offense, February, when he was arrested and charged with retail theft for stealing from an Elmwood Park Walgreens.
If they were other charges involving arson, those would come before the jury. The fact that he has other crimes not related to arson will not come before the jury down the road, because frankly, it's irrelevant how bad a person he is. The only question is, does he have a propensity to commit arson?
Again, Green will be here at the courthouse on Saturday. We will continue to track this and bring you the very latest. Reporting outside the Cook County Courthouse, I'm Tara Molina, CBS News Chicago Investigators.
Tara Molina's still at it, right, Ak?
We all know that violent crime is the biggest issue facing our city, but this week may have been one of the worst in recent memory. Tonight, Fox 13 is breaking down the shootings and the numbers to show why. I'm Daryl Green.
And I'm Darcy Thomas. Let's take you through some of these cases. Late this afternoon, Fox 13 learned the 2 people shot and killed yesterday near Booker T. Washington High School were students at the school. The shootings around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon forced the school into lockdown and added to an already growing list of violent crime in Memphis over this past week.
And that violence continued overnight. Memphis police responded to 2 separate shootings in Orange Mound. Investigators say one man was critically injured on Saratoga Avenue, another killed on Ethel Street.
At least 6 people were shot, 4 killed in Frazier since Tuesday night.
And a deadly mass shooting at a candlelight vigil Saturday night left 1 man dead and 4 others injured, including a 14-year-old boy. Memphis police say it's time for the violence to end.
My career being on the job, has been a lot of violence here in Memphis. We need to curtail it.
Enough is enough in this city. It's time that the citizens know that this is not going to be tolerated.
We need your help. Community, we need your help. In order for us to solve this crime, the Memphis Police Department need you.
You got it, sister.
Yes. Fox 13 Investigates went through our archives for the last 7 days. Since last Friday night through this morning, we found these 26 shootings.
Yeah, you said, what am I looking for? Oh yeah, we already did the firefighter, right?
Yeah, but you got a good memory. Do you remember when I showed you the clip of the Black Chicago Firefighters Union? How they were talking shit about how white firemen were just letting buildings burn in the stands. The fact that they were able to say that, and they were standing with a Sun Caucus politician. The fact that they're able to say that and they don't have to apologize or make no statement. This guy just died, Ike, in Blackistan. You feel where I'm going with this, Chief? I mean, why are they allowed to say the shit they say, man? And why are we forced to ignore reality?
Because we're too weak to stand up. That's why.
That's it, man. That's basically it.
But it's hard. It's hard to be the first one to speak up. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. Like if we have to, if gliders got to stand up, they got to do it as a group. You know, because if you're just one person,
I think that it doesn't nowadays. It can take a viral story. It can take a small group because of the internet. The cowards, the people that are too afraid to take a line, they can contribute to the cause by tweeting, sharing tweets.
Yeah, but tweeting and doing shit over the internet only goes so far. You know.
Well, no, I mean it got the Karmelo Anthony family $600,000. It is a powerful tool. I mean, if gliders, there's more gliders too, than sons. The gliders should blast Graham Hoffman's picture all over there. They should just send it out to all their friend group on Facebook or Twitter or whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things you could do. Just
Yeah.
like I like the stupid game gliders always play. We're like, can you imagine if this was reversed, the backlash? And it's like, okay, well, that's because us gliders won't do anything. That's our fault.
But that's
Like
what I'm saying.
it's like
that we
gliders say that and look stupid.
I understand that, Fisherman, but that's what I'm saying. We got to stand up as a group. You know what I mean? If it's just like a couple people just standing up, it's not going to do anything. Like, if like 50,000 gliders came on the street, like the next day, it would definitely cause enough attention, and it'll inspire other gliders, other places to do the same. Like, I mean, they
Okay.
tried that with that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure.
But like a few fringe groups here and there hardly makes a difference. I mean, they tried it with Charlottesville, but I think that was all psyop.
I was in Charlottesville. That was real. Charlottesville was just it was like any other event like that I've been to. I've been to other ones like Charlottesville where the groups come there and the Oath Keepers are there. You got 100 Oath Keepers walking around with AR-15s and shit. You got this white national group over here. You got BLM. You got Antifa. I've been to those, man. So only difference between Charlottesville and that was that night before it got a little bit of pub because of the tiki torches and shit. And that imagery of those white dudes marching with those tiki torches that you buy at Home Depot and shit in the fucking garden section. That imagery, they were able to try to tie that to the civil rights days with the Klan marching with torches and shit. And then that got a lot of interest. And then the fucking guy, I saw that guy probably 100 times that day. That guy who ran that car into the crowd. I was in that crowd when he ran the car into the crowd. It was just like somebody threw a brick through his windshield. And I don't even know why he was in his car, but he was in his car. Some fucking white liberals threw a brick through his windshield, and he just fucking put the floored it, and fucking ran into the fucking crowd, and that shit was just it was the climax of a day of a lot of fighting between Antifa and different white nationalists. I forgot the name of that group. They had all white shirts, like white collared shirts. They were very orderly, very disciplined, but they were just a bunch of fucking white dudes that you'd probably see on the street in the city. You'd walk right past them. But it was just the climax that happened, and you got to remember, Cornel West was there. He was in the crowd. He didn't get hit though, but he was there all day. Vice was there. Alex Jones and them, whatever the fuck their thing, InfoWars was there. There was a lot of media there too. There was a lot of independent media there. And when that happened, and his bodies everywhere, broken bones everywhere, it was like, aha, yeah, they did it. They fucking white nationalists. They killed people. People thought like it was dozens of people dead by the way it happened, but only one person died. Ended up dying because a lot of people on the scene that immediately started tying tourniquets and shit like that. But yeah, if that shit would have happened at a cookout in the fucking ghetto or something, you know what I'm saying, or a goddamn, you know what I'm saying, festival somewhere, a lot of more people would have died because
that just furthers the point that, you know what I mean,
first responders there. You had a lot of people in the crowd that were first responders that weren't dressed up. They like paramedics. They were there just to be there. You know what I'm saying? Because the Antifa and shit was there. There's a lot of first responders that saved a lot of lives on the scene. But yeah, it was just another event. It didn't feel no different than any other of one of those things I've been to, other than that, and other than the presence of so much media.
But I'm just saying, if we had more events like Charlottesville and a lot bigger, like, you know, it would definitely make more of a difference. What do you think, Fisherman?
I mean, yeah, that's fine. You just the thing too is if you have any group with a title and like public, image, is the feds are going to pay attention to it to some degree, but you just can't scream feds every time anybody tries to do anything. Otherwise, you're never going to get off the ground.
Yeah, that's what I'm
they
saying.
do. And they scream PSYOP and they scream Fed, and it's like gliders delegitimize every movement. And now I get it. Don't get me
And it's
wrong.
always gliders are the first to say that. Like
Yeah,
gliders knee chop themselves more than anybody.
But I just gotta say this. Like, you know, we got to tell the difference between what's a legitimate group and what's a Fed controlled. I mean, obviously, you got to worry about entrapment. Like, you know, if somebody brings up violence or whatever, they're probably a Fed trying to trap you, like they did that whole Gretchen Whitmer thing.
No, but see, here's the thing you got to understand about that. Feds can't initiate violence.
No, they can suggest it. They can bring up the idea of violence.
No, they can't. No, they can't.
No, they can't. It's called entrapment.
They can't do this. It's entrapment. Yeah, the case will blow up in court, and they're wearing wires too. So it's like they can't do that. They can't do that. Feds can't. They just gotta. And even if they can't even participate in violence. If like, let's just say the biker, they infiltrate a white nationalist, right, and they're stomping some, let's just say some Filipino dude out or some shit, right? That Fed can't kick him. He gotta find a way. He got to find a way out of it to, like, you know what I'm saying? He can't get any kicks in. He got to, you know what I mean? What he can do is, like, he'll be like, you know, like they may put him into a situation where he knows some drug dealers or something, and he'll just like leave it out there, like yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like I got some ties to some guys that are moving some keys and stuff, and then of course they're like, oh yeah, we're on, and then they will suggest, yeah, introduce us to them, blah blah blah, and then that's how they introduce them to. But he can't lead with violence whatsoever. So you gotta know they constrained by the law.
I mean, they can suggest violence though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Not really. They're on.
But I mean, like, look at January 6th. Look at January 6th though. They had FBI personnel in the crowd, like Ray Epps, screaming, "Let's go in the Capitol."
Yeah, but Ray Epps is not Ray Epps is not necessarily a Fed. Ray Epps is an agitator. He's not.
Yeah, I mean, he's Fed connected.
Yeah, but I mean, he was.
But that's what he's there to do. He's there to see. He's there to see if you're going to take the bait and violate a law.
They can bait you.
It's different.
They can do that.
I'm talking about feds. I'm talking about somebody who's embedded into the group as you know what I mean, like as pretending like they're one of the group.
Well, I mean, I think there's more. They have more varied ways of co-opting groups than just putting somebody in who's got to, you know, man, you got to get the face tattoo and you got to live with the ugly bitch for 7 years, and like.
But if they want convictions, they have to go with that. Convictions.
Not really. Not really. I don't think so. Like, they convicted the fuck out of people for January 6th.
Well, they ran into the fucking Capitol, dude.
I know, but I'm saying, like, they weren't allowed in, and they had agitators in the crowd trying to get them to do it that were Fed connected.
Yeah,
like, they can create that. I'm just saying, like, they can create.
That's right there.
Yeah, they wanted that. They gave them the optics that the left wanted, and it got them to suspend the whole analysis on the election and how they counted ballots and blah blah blah. Like, it worked perfectly, but I'm just saying the means that they have at their disposal to infiltrate and act as, you know, federal co-opters to destroy any kind of movement are much more varied than just embedding somebody that has to stay there long term and
But that's
You
the
know,
main way that they do it when they want to when they're building the case. Like when they're building the case where they want those people to go away for a long. The 9/11, I'm not 9/11. January 6th is kind of like an anomaly, though. You know what I'm saying? Like that's never going to happen really again. You know what I mean? Like where these groups are going to storm the Capitol or be let into the Capitol, and you know what I mean, or nothing like that. That's never going to happen again. So you can't really use that going forward as like an example of of the future of what's going to happen. Like you know. But
if you
yeah,
give it enough time, they could do it again.
I'll tell you this though, gliders, the worst thing y'all gonna do, and you can't stop this because I'll be online and they do it. But stop saying feds and stop saying psyop. Things happen. Everything is not a fucking fake. Things just happen sometimes. Sometimes shit actually it just happened like the way it happened. I was there, man. I seen these things with my own eyes. Like that shit was just organic. It was just an organic event
Yeah.
that spiraled out of control, and it literally just happened the way it happened. Like
Yeah, I mean, I think that's true that there's things that can happen. The thing about that is what the way, like I was saying, they have a variety of ways of going about this. So like, let's say your situation plays out and something just happens, right? Like you witnessed it. There was nothing weird that you saw, no like pallets of bricks or whatever. But then the media can take what happened and spin it into something totally different with just a couple pundits that say the right things. And that's another way that they
bricks can just happen though.
Right. I'm saying, yes, that happened, but I'm saying like, oh, well, why did this happen? Oh, well, it happened because neo-Nazis are taking over the United States and another Holocaust is on the horizon. These are the things that they were saying after that happened. Right. So like they didn't infiltrate anything during the actual event, but when something happened that they could use to their benefit, they ran the storylines that they needed to push the narrative in their direction.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm saying they've got assets and ways in which to pull these strings all over the place from a variety of angles.
But when you say psyop and like false flag and
yeah, you really gotta, like people want easy answers, but like saying stuff like that, it's like you gotta have the ability to extrapolate out the nuance of what exactly you're saying. Otherwise, if you just say like Jew, like, yeah, I blame the Jews crew for a lot of problems, but I can back all of it up if we sat here for weeks. But It's like you got to have the ammo before you point the gun,
Right. I feel you.
But at the end of the day, gliders, they delegitimize all their groups, and they like for instance, like glider groups that like are orderly, like those guys. Who's those guys? Patriot Front.
Yeah.
I don't think they were feds. I think they may have had a fed embedded in there, but I don't think they're feds. The other group that wore the red and they were like walking through the cities like Nashville and whatnot. I don't think those few people are fed. I think they're just a bunch of white guys that got a little bit of heart and don't work in corporate America and probably never going to work in corporate America, and they never feel like they're ever going to need the system because once you go with one of those groups, you're never going to work anywhere. So you probably, a lot of people probably think like, oh my God, why would they do this to never be able to? Some people are not. Some people live in a fucking cabin in the fucking, like, you ever heard of the 3%ers?
Yeah.
I've heard that term, but I don't know anything about them. Like I've had a couple of talks with just like some of these random Patriot Front types or whatever, and a lot of them are kind of socially awkward and weird. Just online, like talking to them online. I think you had one get on here one time, and he just started spamming the hard R. Like he couldn't articulate anything.
Right. Yeah, those guys are. Those guys are. Yeah, I'm talking about like these guys that are in the woods with all their guns, and these white guys that go and they practice in the woods. And they keep it. And they have groups every week. They they pay dues and they meet up and they have what do you call it, train missions like in the woods or whatever the fuck they call it. I don't know, but the 3%ers, look them up. They got plenty of videos on YouTube. They it's a bunch of white dudes. These groups have like hundreds of thousands of members, and all these white boys are armed to the teeth.
They got some in Jersey, in South
Yeah.
Jersey.
And then like if like 20 of them show up somewhere in like masks or something and get a permit to walk around, that don't mean they're the feds. It just mean they just some white boys that wanted to do a demonstration like that. You know what I'm saying? I think everybody just thinks that like the punishment is so severe for a white person to stand up that if a white person stands up, they gotta be the feds, because no white person is stupid enough to you know what I'm saying, stand up. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and then there's always some politician with legislation just for no reason at all ready to go to pass something to further the agenda in the other direction. It's like it oftentimes just seems too well oiled for it not to be feds, which I'm sure at some degree some of these things are feds. Like maybe one local chapter of this 3%er thing, the dude who runs it in South Carolina is a fed, and he can, plan some event that goes some kind of way that he wants. It doesn't
But
necessarily mean the whole thing is feds.
Fisherman, can I ask you something real fast? How can you tell the difference between a Fed group and a group that's not?
I don't know. That's easier said than done, I think. Like some guys might be in there for the sole purpose of collecting data. Like they're not even there to be the leader or to yell, open fire or, whatever thing. They might just be there to just listen and send out an email every week to what they're hearing and whatnot. It's hard to say, man. And then everything you do is going to be through some sort of online communication or text or whatever, so they can watch that too. Like you just gotta accept that they're going to be on you somehow in some way.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I think I said before. Like, we can organize all we want. Like, as long as we don't advocate for anything illegal or say anything about violence or nothing, then they can't do anything. Eventually, they're going to lose interest.
Yeah, I think you got to go, if you're going to actually enact change, you've got to go after how the money is spent, like tax wise.
Yeah.
And you've got to go after policy. You have to work to change policy. Like walking around in the street and then just like sucker punching a black person or something is not changing anything. Like if you go after a policy related to incarceration and, stricter penalties or whatever kind of that way and start moving the needle in that direction, they can't really deny it. And that's what the Juice Crew does. They go
honestly,
after policy and money.
I'm just gonna say this right now. It's like Ox said, I think last night or the stream before last one, is that start locally, like start running for local offices. You know what I mean, at the grassroots level. Because like you said, most people don't, like most Sun people, they don't vote like for those types of elections. You know what I mean? And that's why. And then when you start building grassroots movements and then start like demonstrating or like start like handing out literature and start able to articulate arguments, you're able to get people on your side and they're voting you in these small little offices. And then after a while, like, you start building up and you start getting political experience and you start running for more higher positions, right?
I mean, that could happen, but that could be a way. That could be a way. At the same time, the main thing and then we're gonna end it right here, man. Main thing, just grow a pair, man. Grow a pair. A lot of white men are cucked by society. It has done a concerted effort to cuck white men, and it's worked. And white men have to find a way to become uncucked, even though we know that society is concerted to all men, all American men, to cuck all American men, but white men especially have been affected by it. Whereas black men, we got like a lot of testosterone. We kill. We walk around with guns. We talk shit. We can access our our male libido more readily than white men can because we have different outlets for it. But white men, you've been cucked by society, and you got to uncuck yourself, man.
But here's the
on that
thing.
note, man,
But here's the thing. But here's the thing, though. Like glider men, like they try to use our traits against us. Like we care about our families and we try to plan for the future and all that other stuff. Well, if they take away our jobs, if they try to use CPS against our children, it's gonna people are not going to be afraid to stand up. I mean, people are going to be afraid to stand up.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Everybody, what I'm saying is that like everybody has challenges, and that's just the challenge. You have to meet that challenge, man. Same black time, same black channel. I'm out of here. Peace out.
Salute.